Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today. Oh, we're turning her down. I know it's a little loud. Hold on. We're getting there, and yes, we are here today, and the camera is a little different. I know I look like I have some kind of weird COVID disease, but we are, oh, wait, the shirt. Look what we got here. We got this Andrew Priolo shirt on. By the way, there might be of course, some of y'all saw us put out our front end challenge video out today. And we got a challenge, basically, today from Jason Priolo. And I'm bankrolling it. He says that he can do it faster. $200 on the line. I need $200, and I believe in balls, Brody Moeller, that much. I believe this is one of the young phenom crew chiefs of the future. And I think he could get around a car in the sun a little quicker than Jason Priolo and put that front end just a, so we may have a dual showdown tomorrow being filmed potentially at the Motorplex. We will see how this goes. I'm in the midst of setting this up. But once again, the camera looks a little weird because we are trying to have a potential revolutionary sit down here today with a person that everyone needs to know. And I'm not talking about Santa Claus. I'm talking about Jason Crowe. But before we bring him on to the show, there are some things to talk about. And I will feel like I'm betraying society if I don't lead this off with this post right here that I put out. Oh, wait, not that one. The front end challenge was right here. Sorry about that. Front end challenge right here. So this may have, if you ain't seen it, go check it out. Really good video. Real good kind of just spur of the moment idea me and a few others came up with. Of course, Brody's life coach, Goose, was there on hand. We Brody was running his mouth. I was like, all right, then we'll do it in 2.5 minutes. We upped it to 3 after several failures. That's the honest truth. We only put one of his failures in the video. There were several. I was being very nice to Brody. So the truth is out on you, balls, as I don't know why they call you that, but the truth is out. But I think you got the practice. I think you got the skill. You could take Jason Priolo one-on-one in a front-end challenge. $200, I'll bankroll the situation, give you 50. We'll split it up. Anyways, this is how America works. I did make a post earlier, speaking of how America works, of like Biden. We all know that Biden is like really slow and can't keep up. But for some reason, and at the same point, as slow and as dumb as Biden is, I've just been seeing so many Americans make political posts recently. As slow, as dumb, as idiotic as Biden is, the United States has went forward with passing bills, dropping bombs, and business as usual. So in my opinion, isn't that like proof that a president kind of doesn't matter? Isn't Biden proof that a president just does not make a difference? I mean, obviously all systems go in every other direction, no matter how slow he is. So why do we think that a president will make a difference? Anyways, another post, very important, before we continue here today, is this one. Some people have kept up with my opinions of this Donnie Schatz paint scheme. And I don't know why Brody keeps popping up. Leave me alone right now, Brody. You just be ready for tomorrow. The Donnie Schatz paint scheme is disgusting. The current one, this baby blue thing. But somebody recognized that this scheme was that horrible. This Heater Design Studio went and made some reimagined schemes, fantasy schemes for Donnie Schatz. Look at these things here. I knew I was not alone because I used to be a graphic designer. I still am a graphic designer. I do all my stuff my own way. Everything I do on my own. I knew it was bad. Other people are recognizing it's bad. And Heater Design Studio on Facebook came out with 4 different color options. This guy is begging Donnie Schatz, please, I will do this for free. Any scheme but the one that you have. And honestly, guys, I know that Ford Performance is going with this new look logo. These are better, correct, than the current Donnie Shot scheme. Will somebody please, I even put in the shared post, I put, please someone send this to the printer and to Donnie Schatz and Tony Stewart Racing immediately. Save Schatz' season with this paint scheme. It needs to happen. These are all better. The yellow Donnie Schatz, the blue, the light blue integrated scheme that they got there below, even this red, white, and blue Car Quest version. Somebody please send this to Donnie Schatz. And then, of course, we can't go forward without me sitting here saying, did I tell you so? Landon Crawley, straight up, quick timed, did an impressive job for a 16-year-old. And the reason I was pointing out Landon Crawley and the reason I got a little bit of angst is because over the years, it seems like if you're a young racer or a talented racer from anywhere else but California, no one cares about you. Landon Crawley, a great amount of older drivers and younger drivers in the southern regions where he came from could go to World of Outlaw levels and do relatively well. They just never have gotten any opportunity. One of the great drivers down there in recent years that I covered when I was at Devil's Bow, for instance, a guy named Raven Colt, Justin Fifield, a couple of other guys who were really dominant down there in that area, never got the clout or notoriety of a PA driver or a California driver. Therefore, they never got opportunities to go into the national tour. That's why I think this Landon Crawley thing is really a lot bigger than just doing well on a national tour at a young age. It is going to give guys from the South more opportunity. Hopefully, how Callum Williamson going into this next season with the Pennsylvania and World Outlaw and opportunities he's getting will potentially give the Western Australian drivers more opportunity and more clout and more ability to progress their careers in the future years to come. Now, regardless, we did all this to open up the situation I'm about to show you. We have a situation in the room, ladies and gentlemen. And it is sitting to the left of me. Mr. Jason Crowe. Oh my God, he has dropped it. The image of him is on the screen. Look at how much nicer that camera is, ladies and gentlemen. That is my primary camera pointed to him. This camera you're seeing at me right now is off this $2,500 laptop. I thought I wouldn't need a camera. This was like my life savings for 6 months. You know, I dropped my entire bank. And I thought I wouldn't need a new webcam. I got this new computer. And honestly, it doesn't look too bad, but it does look like I'm about to die from COVID or something. Regardless, Jason Crowe is in the building. Western Australian announcer and unofficial tour guide. Because he has been taking me on these nice strolls on the beach, trying to serenade me. I can't say this out loud. But today we actually went, or yesterday, we went on this big old long tower. Or well, we'll start it today. Today we just got back. Even though it doesn't look like I'm burnt and have a tan, I do have one. I'm redder than his ass. We went up here. We saw the damn train. What's it called?
The train on the jetty.
The train on the jetty. Not a pier, but a jetty. We ran into some French girls. Did we not?
Yeah.
Three of them.
Yeah, that was at...
I had them entertained. I had them going.
That was at Elby's at the pub.
That was a whole nother... Well, we had those two people, I'm not going to say escorting us around, but the tall blonde and her friend were with us the whole time at the aquarium. Were they not? They stood right next to me.
Yeah, true.
And they could tell that I was going to protect them from you, so they stood next to me. There's my fat ass standing at the end of the pier. Apparently, New York is 1,800 kilometers away, which I don't know why they don't say miles. I don't know why. This is kind of like the 3 levels. Really cool stuff that you got to see, or I got to see there. And then yesterday, we went to this giant, long, thick, tall, girthy light tower. That's been around since like 1890. It's the
tallest in Western Australia.
And the pier is the longest.
Yeah, in the southern
or the
hemisphere.
jetty
in the southern hemisphere
is the longest, but this one is second tallest in the world or something.
Yeah. To be able to climb. Yeah.
Okay. And then we went to some caves. You took me down under. You heard my song. You wanted me to experience going down under. We ran across a buggy of some sort. The air did some amazing things to my hair. I need a blow dryer now. Windy. Obviously, this picture right here, for those who don't know it, this is at the top of the lighthouse. I actually, in my opinion, and in your opinion, I suggested this an amazing extracurricular activity for this lighthouse. There should be a zip line from the top of the lighthouse all the way back down to the beginning of the entryway. It's a good idea, right?
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. Great idea. I sound like Trump right now, but it's a great idea. Now, the funny thing about this picture is on the right is the Southern Ocean, correct?
Yep.
And on the left is the Indian Ocean. So it's where the oceans actually meet. And it's very weird because you actually do see the tides going different directions in this area. Now, the problem we have with all these things is this image right here, because there's a woman in the frame. And you like to rub this in. You know, these women, they always follow me. Wherever we go, whenever there's an odd woman out, they seem to always be around me. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm really loud and I have this accent. And they're like, okay, America, they bomb everyone, so I can feel protected around him. It's just like all the countries. They come to us for protection. But anyway, this person was nice, and you started making all these comments because she was from Adelaide. Why were you making fun of her being from Southern Australia?
Do not turn this
That's
around.
what you said.
She was from Adelaide. She was here on holidays.
Yes.
And she was windswept just like you were going around the top of that.
It was
lighthouse.
very bad right there.
It was actually really windy.
It was. Did you see the hair? Do we need to go back to see what the hair did to me?
Yeah.
Or the wind did to my hair? Look at this hair. Look at that. It looks like the devil has a rose. You see the horns?
It's rather attractive.
Oh, wow. You just called me attractive. I knew it was true.
Well, it's the hair. Like, I haven't got any, and I've got none compared to you. So,
well, I got none either. I just blow dried me away.
You were doing this while I was trying to drive the car. So
I was distracting you. I was that attractive.
Well, the thing is,
what are you trying to say? Hold on, we'll get you back on the camera. What? Yeah. Reply now.
What we're trying to say is, every time you're just talking to me, I think we're just having a conversation. And then I take a glance to the right or the left.
I'm always filming.
You're always filming.
I told you, it's my job.
You're on camera the whole time. Now let's go back to the very beginning. I'm in the building. You're in my house. So, of course, I'm in the building.
I'm violating a privacy right now.
Yeah, so anything that may get said or happen in the next 10 minutes, I may or may not be...
responsible?
Or employed at the Motorplex.
What do you mean employed at the Motorplex?
I don't know what you're going to ask me, but I feel like I'm about to be interrogated.
What do you mean interrogated? I asked you like several times if you even want to continue doing this.
Yeah, no, well, we're doing it. So, in all seriousness, I took you down to Cape Lewin. For anyone,
Cape
Lewin, that's where the lighthouse is, and that's where the two oceans do meet. And it was actually good that it was really windy, because you actually see one ocean coming in from the left and one coming in from the right, and where they actually meet. That was pretty cool. Then we went to, you haven't mentioned the stingrays. We went to Hamlin Bay.
We did go to the stingrays.
So you posted the other day that if you do not post or do one more of these lives ever again, it's because I've actually pushed you in. But that didn't happen.
And got attacked.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we actually did see some stingrays. Not the biggest of them, but we saw some. And we did see some tourists doing exactly what you're told not to do. And there was two people patting one of them.
They were petting the actual stingrays in the water.
Yeah,
crazy. In the water. You think they would have drug them out first. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, so, we saw about 3 or 4 of those. So that was pretty cool. Okay. So that was at Hamlin Bay. And if you haven't been to Hamlin Bay before, it's a caravan park and a car park for boat and a boat ramp, and that is it. There's nothing else there. So that was good. And then we took you to the cave, and I did warn you numerous times that going down into the cave, not a problem. Coming back up is a problem because there's about 400 steps. And you actually go down 60 metres. But in my opinion, there's 5 caves on that road, as you saw. But the one I took you down, I'm pretty sure is the best of the 5. And
it's called the Lake Cave.
Lake Cave. It's got water at the bottom of it. There's a huge big stalagmite that comes down and it sits just above the water level, weighs 5 tonne. And then they light it up like the photos you've shown. And it's pretty cool. So
we came to learn that this is how you serenade all the guys who come down here. You take them.
What happens is any of my friends that come down, And it's funny you should. Today, when we went to the jetty, our tour guide Anna, I've had her as the tour guide for probably 4. And you have to admit that I told you exactly where to sit on the train to get the best pictures.
Yes.
I told you.
And burn my arm.
Yeah. Well, I'm a bit more tan than you.
Thanks to the. Okay.
And then I told you exactly which windows to go to get the best pictures. And to be honest, this afternoon, the fish that were there this afternoon, some of them I'd never seen. So that was pretty cool.
But we still didn't see a shark.
No, we didn't see a shark.
And I haven't seen a spider or a snake.
Yeah, exactly right. So for everyone who has set you up, then, yeah, they've really set you up. But one thing you haven't mentioned is the first day you were here, we had the Veggie Meaty Challenge. So
we did have the Vegemite on the bread.
Yeah, the Vegemite on toast. So we have done that. And, yeah, you did eat the whole thing, which was proud of you.
Well, and it was weird because I didn't even taste it.
Yeah, because you had it like you're supposed to have it. You don't have a huge big spoonful like everyone's been telling you to have.
Well, no, that's when the Australians, when you meet them in, like, Eldora, which is the place I had it originally, they come up to you and give you a spoon of it. Yeah, they do not, like... Yeah. They're intentionally trying to get this throw up reaction, so they get them all drunk. Go, hell, have an Australian beer, mate. Now you want to try this Vegemite?
So I've actually been really good to you. Like I haven't led you up the garden path one bit, mind you. You have found a drink that you like that you haven't had before.
I do like this Han, even though I made fun of Blake Han like a month ago. That his humor was super dry. This Blake Han beer is really good. In fact, I'm getting another one.
Okay, so I'll keep on talking.
Yeah, keep talking. You're good at it. Well, that's what you do for a living.
Absolutely. So while he's gone, what else did we do? So after we went down to the bottom of the aquarium this morning or this afternoon to see the fish and everything else that was there, you go out on a train, which is 1.8 kilometres or just over a mile for those in the States. Then Chaz decides, how about we walk back? It's blowing a gale practically out the end of the jetty, and we actually walked back, which was okay because you got plenty of photos on the way back.
Fine, we'll go Great Northern. We'll go Great Northern.
You're just raiding the fridge now.
No, there's more Hans. I feel like maybe there'll be more audience members that respect me if I'm drinking Great Northern.
Well, fair enough. So on the way back, you took plenty of slow-mo pictures.
Oh, I got some really good fun. I got a sad song for you coming. You're going to be the main actor.
Oh, no, it's rather tragic. I saw
They were good. They were really good. But they did look like you were walking alone into the abyss.
Yeah, so the last 2 nights we've gone to the Shelter, which is a nice,
really nice place.
Nice brewery, nice place
really
to
nice
eat and
place.
drink. The second night was by accident, really. I had a meeting which went till 8 o'clock. And living in a country town like I do, even though it's technically a city, and after 8 o'clock finding anything that's open to eat is practically impossible. Even though the restaurants are closed, the bars might be open. So the only place we could find to eat was back at the Shelter for a second time. So we went to the Shelter.
Yeah, this Shelter place, I think I need to show them photos because this place is not like bad. This place is really nice. And apparently in y'all's town, you have to have a certain structure to your buildings to be accepted. Like the Hilton Inn across the street had to have this like Illuminati pyramid shape on top of the building. So what is this about again?
Yeah, so on the jetty itself is the interpretive centre. So there's 4 little buildings all with pointed roofs. So everything that's around the jetty area.
I think I could show that off as well.
Yeah,
that you're talking about.
Yeah, everything needs to fit.
So all that we're talking about, I believe, is on the screen right now. This is this whole pier downtown area, and this, I believe, is the image you're talking about. And these are the original jetty houses to this pier.
Yes.
And this is a picture of the pier. This goes 2 kilometers out into the sea.
Yep.
This is the actual end of it. I'll be putting up some images on my Google Maps. If you don't follow me on that, I have like 30 million views on Google Maps. I'm a level 9 traveler, which is really hard to get to. But regardless, you're saying that everything in the town has to be based
around the jetty area,
around the jetty structure and the original building.
Yes. So The Hilton and the Goose and the Equinox, which are two restaurants right on the beach, along with the Shelter, have all got pointed roofs, so they all fit in with.
Yeah, I'm showing images of the Hilton right now, and I've never seen a Hilton look like this before.
The Hilton's only brand new. It's only been open a couple of months.
And it looks amazing. Like, I don't even want to know how much it is to stay in one. Actually, it looks like $78 a night.
Yeah,
wow.
It's only just slightly cheaper.
It's just, you're saying that this structure, this image is Freemasonic. You have to do it.
Yeah, that Hilton's only just slightly cheaper than living here, to be honest.
Really? Wow. Are you flexing right now? Are you flexing?
You haven't got the invoice yet.
Oh, wow. I knew something was happening different here. But anyways, all these places we went to, including the Shelter, they had to be looking a certain way.
Yeah.
Which was the shocking point to me.
Yeah, so everything on the foreshore looks exactly the same and fits in with the facade of the actual jetty itself. So the reason I've taken you to all these places is obviously you've been over here for a couple of weeks now. And instead of just sitting in the workshop at Callum's, I thought, I'll get you down here for a couple of days and actually show you how the rest of the people live in country WA and shown you the sights. So you've seen plenty of kangaroos in paddocks, but
I haven't got to fight one yet.
No,
people keep telling me I need to go toe to toe,
and you need to tell everybody that kangaroos do not run down or hop down the main street. You have not seen one in the main street. They're only in the paddocks in the bushlands.
Why?
No,
the freak when I arrived.
You just need to tell the truth.
Hold on.
No,
we were redlining there. You know what that means. Apparently, the audio people at 7 Plus know all what that means with you and redlining. Oh, look at the blushness. We got behind the scenes content coming, ladies and gentlemen, about this person. But anyways, outside of the transgender situation. I know, I'm just like,
tomorrow night could be my last night.
I'm full of shit. I'm just joking. But when I arrived and got the rental car.
Oh yes.
The rental car lady convinced me that I was gonna hit a wombat or a kangaroo, and I had to pay this $500 extra to get this insurance, or I'm gonna pay $10,000 or more to fix the car because they're gonna total it.
And you haven't seen any of them, have you?
I did have one kangaroo come after me after I left Mount Gambier back to Warrnambool, which everyone told me was going to happen.
Yeah.
But they said that it was less likely that night because of so many people were going to plow the road, basically, going back with the sprint car teams and everyone in town. Now, there was a kangaroo that slowly hopped out towards me. I thought they were going to be fast. Let me just say this right now. If that's as fast as a kangaroo goes, I am trained. Way better than you believe. I drove through Montana at night one. Well, actually, I went to a place called the Devil's something. I forgot what it's actually called. Devil's Crest or something like that. I went to Mount Rushmore. The Devil's Tower. I went to Mount Rushmore and the Devil's Tower. This is western Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, right there in the corner of Wyoming and Wyoming and Montana. And I left there late at night because I had to get to Skagit. I was driving to Skagit and I stopped at those places on the way, and it was dusk. And for probably 200 miles, I did nothing but just see deer on the side of the road. Now, they never walked in the road, unlike some deer in the Midwest, but that's because those deer are happy over there in the outlands. The deer in the Iowa and Illinois area, they're just like the people. They want to die, so they're trying to run out into cars. The ones in PA are jumping off bridges, actually, literally jumping off bridges. There was a phenomenon happened last year where PA deer were running off bridges and killing themselves. Regardless, that's because of the Amish and the Mennonites and the Danny Dietrich fans. But outside of that point, deer, when they run across the road, they're fast. Like, they're out of the bush and like, bam, you have no time to react. I came over a hill one time and there was like a whole paddock of them, or a whole group of them, herd, and they all turned and ran with me, and I kind of sideswiped one. I never hit him, though. He was like running with the car, and he just like hit into me and bounced off, kept going. The kangaroo was going extremely slow compared to a deer. So if that's how fast they go, I should have never been worried because I could have dodged them forever. But outside of that, I have not seen a kangaroo. I haven't seen a spider. Haven't seen a snake. Don't be fucking with me like that, okay? Because I got Callum sending me, for instance, Friday night after the Barbagello. Well, how's it? Barbagello. I'm sorry, the mafia is going to get me. After the Friday night race, he sent me a freaking Snapchat or a video from his Airbnb where there was a giant huntsman in there almost the size of his hand. In the area, in Perth. But for some reason, they're not coming near me.
No.
Do they not like me?
No, there's none here.
Now I'm starting to feel insecure. Do they not like me?
Now,
Am I not their type? What the fuck's going on
Let's change the subject. Cars.
What about cars?
Well, there's two subjects we could probably go on to with cars. That you've got a fascination with mine.
Oh, the Commodore.
Correct.
The Great Northern and these Holden Commodores. Urgh. Fucking Marlins on here.
Yeah, so you like the Commodore, but
it's a Buick LeSabre.
Yeah, you posted something the other day that you got yourself into a bit of trouble.
What do you mean?
Well, you've got a car that...
Oh, we're going to go there. We're going to go there.
Potentially is on diesel.
Wow.
And you went to what we call a servo.
I went to... Well, I posted... Hold on, let's reset. I posted a post to Facebook that said I made a big mistake.
Yeah.
And I don't know... or what? Hold on. Now we got to find it. Because you want to bring this shit up, we got to bring it up. If you want to bring it up, we got to bring it all up.
Well, I think we've got to be fair.
Well, we got to be honest, too.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, you want to keep lying and stuff and pretending.
We are going to.
So we're going to bring the post up.
We are going to talk about Speedway.
Oh, we're going to eventually talk about Speedway after we're done with this bullshit. It is, what time is it in the morning in the USA? It is 8 a.m. So we're waking some bitches up with some truth today. This is the post I put out.
Potentially.
I put out me on the side of the road. Hold on. And I said, just made a very big / dumb mistake, shaking my effing head. Some people believe I drove on the wrong side of the road, which I was told about a story today about wrong side of the road. I feel very bad about. What was the guy's name?
Luke Nardini.
Luke Nardini. Because I just had a recent situation at a roundabout in Bunbury.
Yeah.
Where I thought I was at a stoplight, and I come to a stop, and people were honking at me, and so I just take off, and this guy had some kind of big-ass issue and was, like, yelling at me and filming me and stuff, and it's like, well, nothing's wrong with my car. I ain't hit nobody, but I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I did the wrong thing, obviously. And this guy drove on the wrong side of the road and actually killed some guys and has been in a prison in California, which I feel very sympathetic because no intent there at all. I believe intent's very important today. Regardless... Back onto this subject, you wanted to make fun of me. It made me think about that. I'm about to cry. But anyway, all these people think I drove on the wrong side of the road.
No.
That, and the other. But I guess you want me to tell the real story as to why I was on the side of the road here 10 minutes down the street from Perth Motorplex an hour before Hot Laps. Do you really want me to tell the story?
Well...
Is this what you're doing to me right now?
Well, I'm already feel like I'm being interrogated, so I think you should probably...
what did I do to interrogate you?
Let's just say you put petrol...
The damn truck is a diesel and I put gas in it.
Yeah.
Because in America, we don't have little bitty gay trucks. Oh, I might go to jail. Little bitty gay trucks running on diesel. The only thing running on diesel in America is big semis and big trucks, real trucks. Y'all don't really have real trucks. No. You got to pay $150K for a damn V8.
So people came to your aid. Long story short, you got to the Speedway. And
I was surprised.
Okay.
I was surprised at how much people didn't care and was like, oh, not a big deal. I mean, what? Not a big deal. I come from a very conservative background. Like, when I run around America, I have to count every penny. I'm eating, crackers and cheese sometimes to make my thing go. Because I believe in it. And for something that big to happen, I'm thinking the whole world's about to end. And everybody's, oh, nobody got killed. Holly with the team, oh, it's okay. What? It's okay? There's a car not moving right now. If my car comes to a stop, my whole life is over. They just, I guess, fix it. I mean, I drove here in that vehicle that had that issue, so it's all fixed. Everything's...
And Callum, if you're watching, the vehicle's been in the driveway for 3 days. It's fine.
And I'm hiding from the people in Bunbury. I am hiding. I don't know what the guy's problem was. Obviously, you just said y'all got groups around here. You make fun of people when they make stupid traffic mistakes.
Yeah, there's Facebook pages for everything. They put photos up all the time. Don't worry about it.
I'm trying not to. But the guy videoed me. That's weird. Y'all have weird mental issues over here.
Now, since I'm the announcer and I'm used to asking the questions, so we're sort of turning this conversation around.
You wanted to embarrass me.
Oh, no. Well, that's as far as go. What about the Motorplex? You've been here for a week now, so you've seen a practice session and you've seen 2 race meetings, Friday and Saturday night. What do you think?
I don't want to wish. Sorry, let me retract that. Wishing is very interesting. Gens and stuff. I don't know if people know about that, but I would hope that when I've been saying Taj Mahal of racing and saying how y'all are doing this right, doing that right, and all these things correctly. I hope that when the American audience sees me say that, or even some of these other tracks like that don't have facilities or funding, that they can somewhat aspire at least to try to emulate some of the things that y'all do. Like there's just some things that make commonsensical sense that y'all are doing correctly. Now, obviously, the vision that the family had there with that facility, I believe it was Khan who kind of had the original vision 20 years ago. People are misunderstanding.
25 years.
25 years ago, the track sitting there today, that in my opinion, the whole layout and everything is probably better than anything going right now or being built recently. The remodeling of North Wilkesboro isn't even close. It's like the vision it took to see that is one thing, but then how it actually is all came together, and in the years I've heard y'all actually sustain low car counts and things of the sort to have the belief in we're building here, we're making something happen, and then to be where you're at today. I mean, I tried to brag on y'all and say y'all were paying just as much as the World Outlaws Evolution. Somebody comes in there, 30K Australians, 19,500 Americans, so it's not even close. $500? Really? We're talking about a regional race here. But regardless, back to back, I mean, y'all are doing something really amazing here with 30 and then 10 tomorrow and then 30 this weekend. And it's more so based on a belief, that y'all are more than what y'all are. And there's a lot of people that have invested into the facility and into everything that believe that what y'all have going over here is worth more than what it right now is. I feel like in the States, there's a lot of people that just kind of say it is what it is, and they're not necessarily thinking of what it could be.
Yep.
I think that's why Brad Sweet is really making the moves that he's making and got all these people invested into him and his ideas, because he's talking about being more than what they've always been. When you talk to these other people, we're just taking baby steps. This is just how it always has been. This is what it is. But Brad Sweet's not saying that. I want to make it bigger than it's been. I want to do things we ain't done before. I feel like that mentality that Brad Sweet has in the States right now has been the Perth mentality for, 10, 15 years?
It's been quite a while now. So you've basically, after seeing that event on the 28th of December, the Brad Sweet, Rico Abreu and Callum Williamson race, which is probably one of the best ones we've seen, that was sort of like the instigator for you to want to come here in the first place or to Perth.
Well, how I had just booked my plane ticket to come out here. Went down to $200 in the bank, for the record, to come out here because I was like, fuck it. I've always just went, and God or whatever happens and happens. And then I was like, well, if I'm going over there, I might as well start paying attention to the racing scene, start talking about it. And that was the first thing I talked about. It was the next night I booked the event, and then the next day is when I made the video. So 2 days after. And it was so weird. Like, I've talked to Callum about this. Like, everything is just like bammed real fast. So I made that video, and then it was like next morning, Kevin, the 39 Trone team, messaged me. He's like, hey, man, you sold me on that guy. He is that guy. Can you get in contact with me or with him and make something happen here? We'd like to have him. And so that contact was made, and then it progressed from there. And obviously people had already wanted me to come to Warrnambool and Avalon. And I was looking at the schedules and when I was actually going to come over. And I didn't know if I would go to Perth or not because I didn't know where my situation was at the time. So I had already made the plans to actually not even come over to Perth. My plane ticket initially before all this happened was to go Avalon. They got the little swing there with Mount Gambier and then the classic, and then I was going to fly out. And then when all this started coming together, more people wanted me to come to Perth because of the stuff that had started to happen. So it worked out financially to make that shift to come over here. And I really don't think, and this is the bigger shock, how you talked about to come over here. I really don't think that watching Perth on television does it justice. Like, you can't really kind of grab what Perth is actually doing and what it is by just watching it on a even the best highlight, even the best racing you could see. Because first of all, the shape and speed of the track looks different. I think everything always looks different on camera.
Yep.
And then how things flow, how things are set up. Because I was originally an announcer in 2012, worked my way up to basically playing promoter by 2014, and then I was promoter for about 3-4 years there. And playing promoter, obviously, that doing most of the things I could, and making things happen that had never happened before, kind of with that vision. That's what I was doing down there. And so when I see facilities and how things are structured, I'm like, okay, that works. Okay, that's what I've been thinking about. Okay, that's right. This is how it should be. This is kind of, basically Perth really represents what I've been saying to the motorsports world since about 2017-18. This is what you have, this is how you have to present. This is what you have to do. This is how you have to look. This is what's going to influence people to want to be a part of it. So getting over here was one thing, seeing it and experiencing, I mean, the practice night blew me away. Just because you're watching drag racing on one side and you're flipping around and watching racing on the other, and just how it all flows and the layout, it's just the pinnacle. And for them to have the vision like that in 2000, basically 2001, is pretty remarkable, to be honest with you.
And then we had the race the other night, Saturday night's race between Lockie McHugh and also Jock Goodyear, which was probably second only to what we saw just before New Year's. So that was an amazing race as well.
Well, I feel like if I was a Western Australian sprint car fan, I'm pissed off. I feel let down. And obviously those who see the results see two Eastern guys just came over and slapped y'all. And that's the real big thing that I've learned since getting to Australia is the politics. I've talked to some very important people about this too, and seeing what I see, and they're like, yeah, that's how it's always been. Those Eastern Central guys, the Victoria guys, the New South Wales guys, they're the only ones that get any credit or credibility from Australia. And this Western Australia thing's kind of just been off to the side, and even some of the Queensland Gold Coast guys just been off to the side, and no one's really cared about them. And there's this somewhat of, not an arrogant, well, I guess in a common sense, there's an arrogance, not necessarily a personal sense, but in a common sense, there's an arrogance to the drivers from that area of the country. And so when those guys do come over to Western Australia, not just the Americans that came over and y'all beat, but when those guys come over, there is almost a desire, a need for your guys to whoop their ass.
Yep.
And so when it's up front, and it's obviously putting Jock Goodyear out front in clean airs, you're in trouble already. You're in trouble pretty bad already. I mean, Friday they handled them decent, but Saturday it was a whole nother level. I mean, and then McHugh gave it a fight. Honestly, Andrew Priolo was the guy to win the race, and he spins out on his own. I mean, apparently he does that a little bit too much. Apparently, he's never won a race. Hold on, I'm wearing his shirt. I'm telling you the truth. I was at Bunbury watching the race the week before, and I was like, okay, he's about to win the race. I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't know this would be like his first win ever. It shocks me that Andrew Priolo has never won a race with how much speed he has on the track. But regardless, it's one of those situations where y'all really need to beat these guys. Like this rivalry coming up, even tomorrow night and Friday, Saturday.
It's our backyard.
Well, and Callum's the main hitter right now. Callum's the main hitter for you guys right now. Obviously, all the things that's happened against the Americans, and then now the momentum going to America. Haven't got to put the Mitch Wormel interview out. Obviously, he's injured, a very top racer for y'all as well, who's got speed. But Callum's doing some things this year that apparently a lot of people see as a very big representative person. And so when those guys come over here, Callum is kind of that A1 hitter for y'all right now.
Yep.
And if you just paid attention to results of those 2 nights and you see where Callum finished, you're like, oh my God, well, what the fuck? But if you watch the races, I mean, he was upside down in the heat race. And if you went and looked at the race car after the A main, he went from, 22nd to 4th?
Yeah.
And Friday night, I think 18th to 2nd?
Yeah, so he was hard charger.
Both nights, I believe.
I think may well have been. Jock Goodger did come from 24 to 5.
On the Friday night?
Yeah, and Callum went from 14 to 2. So, yeah, it would have been...
Friday was Jock, Saturday was Callum. Yeah. But he had the whole left side or right side of the car was bent inward.
Yeah.
And finished 22nd to 4th. So there is more story to that Jock Goodyear, Lockley McHugh 1-2 finish.
Yep.
But on paper, if you're just a casual fan or looking at it for what it is, it looks like the Victoria Eastern guys just came over and smacked you all around. And if you're a Western Australia hardcore guy, that's bad.
Yeah. Now, one other thing's coming up. We've got the Australian Speed Car Championship or Midget Championship for those in the States. You saw a race which really caught your eye the other night, the A-main for the speed cars over 20 laps, where there was 4 guys fighting for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, and at one stage, I think they all hit the fence at the same time, just banging off the wall.
Well, I've had a very interesting, I guess, debate or fight, I guess, with some, ever since I got over here, even in the Geelong, Victoria area down there, a guy named Timothy Fisher was like one of the guys who came at me first. And I've had some history in the midget scene. And it's only because, in America at least, the midget scene is the epitome of the destruction, in my opinion, of racing. It's the epitome. I mean, if you got $300,000, you can buy an advantage over everyone else. And that's what NASCAR is in the real destruction. But in the dirt scene, you get a first-hand experience of it. It's kind of, really, USAC Midgets is kind of designed today to siphon out rich people from poor people so that they can get them in. And that's why TRD's behind it, in my opinion, to get them into NASCAR, because it's mainly making money off renting rides, in my opinion. That's what I think. So they use the midgets to siphon out the poor kids and the rich kids, not the good ones and the bad ones. So midget racing in America, to me, has no credibility. I don't care how good you are in a USAC midget regular season, that is. Chili Bowl, I can judge you a little bit, but we see like Jade Avedisian and some of these people disappear when Chili Bowl comes around because real drivers get in the cars and they get exposed. But in Australia, it seems like the scene is completely different. It's not just a bunch of rent-a-ride kids dominating the scene. And people have been telling me that and how it's a little different over here, and I hadn't got to see it firsthand, and I've been contemplating staying around till the Australian midget or speed car, which I do think speed car is a better name. Once again, I feel like Rico would be less disrespected, but I think speed car is a good name for it. But I've been contemplating, should I stay for this race? Because midgets, speed car, and I've just been bred to think of midget racing as just a joke, because that's what it is over there. In my opinion, that's what regular season midget racing is, a joke. And then obviously midgets on bigger tracks, at least over there, you get them on there and they spread out and they really don't race that well. Adora looks too dangerous. They don't really race either. But then that A-main came out on Saturday. And I'm sitting there first time. I didn't watch the heat races. I didn't see any. I was busy filming the Callum deal, flipping cars and repairing a whole race car.
So were you down in turn 1 in Callum's corner?
No. I was at the flag stand.
Okay.
About 4 rows up.
Okay.
I wanted that front stage experience. I didn't want no distractions from the drunk people down there in 1 and 2. I tried to run down and put a GoPro on a car, but according to Frank, I'm too fat to do it in time. And that's why I had to make that post earlier. No, I'm just playing, not just him, but I almost had an issue with someone else earlier in the week over that. But regardless, I just couldn't believe the action. I couldn't believe, because they talk about Perth, and I've always said it as well, I'd rather have a track that's around the top, because if you have a track around the top, at least you could throw sliders. You have a track around the bottom, and it's horrible.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader. There's nothing you can do about it. But at least on the top, you can get some sliders done. And they always talk about how the sprint cars can pull sliders from, 100 meters back or whatever, which I don't know what that is in yards. Regardless, there was points out, because I was filming the midget race just in case I was going to do some highlights. And we do have some highlights coming in the documentary with Callum and the whole team of this last week, because it was really good finding a broken engine. They swapped motors, all the stuff that happened at the track as well. But there was moments I was filming. I filmed a lot of races, Jason. A lot of them, okay? And I could kind of see speed and see moves coming. And there was a point where a guy would slide someone, like in the midget feature, slide someone into 1 and 2, and I was like, okay, he ain't got the momentum to come back. And so I went up here, and then as I was coming off of 4 with the other battle, the guy who had no chance to come back and slide him back, all of a sudden pulled a slider that was like half the racetrack and went back across him. While the other guy that I just went back to is throwing a slider too.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird because I don't know how the guy who threw the slider and got crossed over was able to carry enough speed to even think about returning a slider, because it just looked like he was stumped.
And that went on for about 10 laps.
Between 6 cars.
Yep.
Because once you start throwing sliders, the third car is the one that advances. So you had... The leader was gone. I can't remember.
Tom Payet, he'd cleared out. But 2 of those drivers were Daniel Harding and Caden Manders. And the thing about them is they'd also run in the sprint cars as well. So
Harding just came back or something to the sprints?
He just won a race and had to get out of one car straight into another. Both of them were swapping all night, just out of one car straight into another. Basically had no time to rest. So that was the impressive thing about those 2. But there was 4 of them involved. Cody Nash was another one that was involved. It was just a ripper race. I heard that you were impressed by it, so it's keen to get your ideas.
It was just, I had never, like I said, there has been moments where I know when a guy slid someone and he's not able to come back for it.
Yep.
When he pulls that slider and he just clears the nose and the guy's actually crossed over correctly for it, they usually mean he's burned him and he's gone, and that guy's just gone, and he ain't got a chance to get back around him. But somehow, going down the back straightaway in 3, they were making up the time enough to throw a slider right back at him.
Yep.
And it was remarkable. Now, I don't know how that's going to act or how it's going to be when you get some of these powerhouse teams over here, like Dyson's bringing midgets. And if Dyson can bring the 360 motors that dominated Simpson, who knows the question marks there. The guys at Premier gave me a rule book and said, hey, I think you're right. There may be something up with that. So if Dyson can bring the Premier equipment, like I'm saying, like he brought to that 360 race, if he can bring the Premier equipment to Perth, that's a big advantage. If you can bring those badass TRDs, whatever I don't know if he's got that or not, but I'm just saying, I've seen, and maybe this is just my insecurity with midget racing in particular, because I see on a yearly basis a few cars that are just equipment-wise better than everyone else.
Yep. Dominate
the industries. So and when you get on a bigger track like Perth, you worry about that even more, because the bigger, we all know this, the bigger the track, the more the equipment matters. So I hope that when the title race arrives, that some of these people who can bring in nicer equipment ain't going to make the difference. But who knows? I mean, it is midget racing. They ain't got wings on top of them. And even though Perth is a high-speed racetrack, I mean, the equipment, even Saturday night, was varying. And it wasn't like there was a big difference. So I don't know if the equipment will matter. There's a lot of things in Australia that, what? How is this happening? There's a lot of how is this... No, how is it? What? How am I seeing a drag strip and then a dirt track? Well, I mean, how is this guy just, like I said, how did he get that run to get back? How did that happen?
Yeah, you also like the technical stuff. So Frank gave you a tour.
Oh.
Yeah, so you got to go into the production area and see how the entire production, the commentary, the Night Thunder program, or Clay Per View when it's Clay Per View, all the cameras, how they all work.
Well, the most intriguing thing, and I can't wait to put this video out. I actually need to clip that all out in its own from the actual show we have. The first thing we got to interact with was the a virtual flagman.
Yep.
Which is the big talk of the town where Callum's going. I mean, Lincoln Speedway. I mean, Callum's going to be living in Stevie Smith's shop. I mean, did everyone hear me? Stevie Smith, that guy. He's living in his shop right down the road from Lincoln Speedway, which is just switched from a flagman to a virtual flagman, and they're catching hell. Now, obviously, y'all in Perth are a little more advanced people. The people in PA are Mennonites and Amish, descendants of, Neanderthals, basically. They haven't progressed, so they're really freaking out in the Appalachian Mountains. They are scared to death of this technology. So I really liked getting that interaction first, and they were we thought they were serious in that room, but then we got to the announcer's room, and y'all were like extremely serious. The world was crashing down. I mean, if there was a pin to drop on the floor, someone was going to get shot. And guns, you got to have a license over here. I don't know how that was going to work, but we did also get to go down to the production area. Got to talk to all the people who are controlling the hue and saturation. Obviously, I wish I had that guy right now to balance the hue and saturation between the different camera angles we have here, because I look like I got malaria and you look perfectly fine. But we also got to the audio guy, and that was like, so how do you deal with this Jason Crow's voice? And he had a long, extensive explanation.
I'll be having a word to him tomorrow.
Oh no, we're not going to have I got to put that video out tomorrow then before we leave here. In Brussels, Bustleton.
Bustleton. We're
not in Brussels.
We're not in Brussels.
Even though there's a bunch of UK women in this area. I did not know how many UK women were in this area.
So you're in the production room, and they were getting stuck into me.
No, not badly.
No.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little. That's what I told her to. Just a little.
It's the production room is not actually anywhere near us. It's actually down in turn number 1. It's its own separate
Correct.
building.
Yeah, and that was a pretty cool behind-the-scenes experience. The only better behind-the-scenes experience would have been the post-race situation with the airplane Qantas bus thing y'all have, where I rode around the top of the track, and I took a cricket bat. I held a cricket bat in my hand for the first time in my life, sadly. The post-race...
I've been trying to convert him into playing.
We haven't technically released any of the footage of me in the porta potty, but apparently it is floating around out there in the interwebs.
There is a photo, yeah.
There's a video.
And
you showed me.
What actually happens with those things? It normally comes out at the most incriminating time.
I got to use the restroom.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So he's off.
Yep.
In his own live chat. Let me do the. Let me do the comments. Let's have a look at the comments. What we got here? Love your work at the Motorplex. Thanks, Jacob. Can we see what your shirt says? So I don't know if you can see that. If a crow can't fix it, we're all screwed. So yeah, I've got that. So that's what I'm wearing tonight. I thought I'd get dressed up for Chaz, but he goes tomorrow. I can probably say this while he's not here. Yeah, so he goes tomorrow. Goes back to Perth. But he's going to follow me to the Motorplex so he doesn't get lost. I'm trying to rationalise with someone who drives on the wrong side of the road in a car on the wrong side of the... Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I've been trying to convert him, but it has been fun, but challenging at the same time, because just when you think you're just having a general conversation, the camera is on the whole time. But he's a little bit paranoid about him looking a little bit pale at the moment from the camera on the computer, but it's all good. I've just gone through the comments.
Like it, buddy.
Yeah, they wanted to see my shirt.
They wanted to see your shirt.
Yeah, so they wanted to see what I was wearing.
They want to see your shirt off.
Yeah. No, they wanted to see what it was on. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, based on your beach attire today, I thought they wanted your shirt off.
So Chaz is back now. But
we're cracking bottles. It's on now.
Yeah.
Professionalism on that side, no professionalism on the other, bud.
Yeah. So tomorrow night we're on Night Thunder on 7 Plus, which is a big deal for us, like being live on free to air TV, and then again on Saturday night for the final. So this is 5 nights in 9 days. It's $160,000 in prize money. This is for the sprint cars. So tomorrow night there's 19 wingless, 12 Formula 500, 7 junior formulas, and there's 30 nominations in the sprint cars. So it should be a ripper night tomorrow night. So you can catch all of that on 7 Plus if you're in Australia from 5:30 Western, 8:30 Eastern. And if you're in the Americas, I reckon that is maybe anywhere between 9:30 and 11:30 the following day, or the previous day. So, check your local guides. I think that's what we say. So,
Well, right now it's 9:35 p.m. It's 8:35 a.m. Central, 9:35 a.m. Eastern.
So we're talking early in the 5:30 in the
Tomorrow night this time will be A mains.
Yeah, correct.
And you only can watch it on Clay Per View, I believe.
In the Americas.
Right.
Yeah. So here in Australia tomorrow it's on 7 Plus on
7
Night
Plus.
Thunder, yeah.
But Clay Per View is the only way to watch
from the Americas. So
I would advise save your money and buy this weekend.
Okay. But it should be a lot.
I mean, if you got the money to spend, don't send a super chat. Save it. Buy it tomorrow night.
So you thought we were actually super serious in the commentary box the other night?
Oh, it was scary.
Yeah.
I had never been in a commentary box that was that serious. The guy at the end was like, I didn't know if he was about to slit someone's throat or what, but he looked like he was mafia.
That's actually Carl Langdon. Carl is a premiership footballer in the AFL. So
that's about how serious he looked.
Yeah, so
he looked like he had been made fun of for playing soccer his whole life with the football.
So there's the three of us, and we have a good time in there actually. But when you came in the other night, we'd just gone live. So
that's the scary part, right?
Well, I was doing the intros and the.
Hold on, just going live is like in the roller coaster on the first hill.
Yeah, exactly.
It's down.
Yeah. Yes. So we're doing the serious bit, which was like the scene setter, setting. So for the people watching maybe the first time, or those who are just tuning in, just setting the scene for what was happening outside, how hot it was, who's here, who's who in the zoo, and then actually getting the live vision. So but that's when you walked in.
And we thought we were going to start hell, and hell was already blazing.
And I just crossed to the other two commentators, and I turn around and go, "We're live." So
yeah. And then I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, but
so much for this.
It's all good. So so that it has been. It's a lot of fun. You would have seen in there. We've got 2 timing screens and 2 monitors and a large monitor above us.
Right.
So anything that we see is what the people see at home.
Now, my only question for you with these other commentators is, do they watch the race? Because at one point they said Callum Williamson was like 17th or something. I know that there was a scoring issue, but being a former commentator myself, I mean, I may watch the scoring for laps.
Yep.
But I watch the race, and I'm calling the race. I'm in the race.
Yeah.
I know there are some commentators nowadays that will just watch the broadcast screen, and that's what tells them life or death.
Yep.
But that'll leave you in a point where you look stupid sometimes.
So there was a scoring issue the other night. A lot of the transponders, for whatever reason, didn't work properly. And there was Callum Williamson and Andrew Priolo were going up and down like a yo-yo. And I think at the time, one of them may have made the comment that he was back in 16th.
Well, and Priolo, when he spun out, I think they said he was a lap car running 21st or something like that.
So the timing was a little bit off, and I know they're working on that. But we've got obviously got the screens, and you can see outside, and the view that we've got outside is
awesome.
It's awesome. So we've got to try and call to the screen for the people at home, but also you've got to look outside so you know what's actually happening. We are controlled by a producer in our ears as well. So while you're calling, you might get a bit of a message saying there's a battle in turn 2. Focus on that.
Well, that's interesting, because a lot of the American announcers and groups I've been around, like a Gibson and stuff like that, they're almost the director of the show.
Yeah.
They'll lead the cameras, like with what they catch, with what they talk about, the cameras follow them. You're telling me at that situation you followed the cameras?
So a lot of the times we follow what's on the screen, but if there's a big crash in front of us and the leaders are in turn 1 and 2 and that's where the camera is, we will actually go, oh, it's a big crash, and concentrate on that.
But as far as like racing on the track, you don't dictate direct that.
No, so
that's very, I don't know if that's good or bad. So I would say that's bad.
So it's tricky. Because we've got to remember we're calling for a large audience at home plus an audience at the racetrack. But in fairness to the people at the racetrack, a lot of the time when the sprint cars are on, unless they've got the in-ear
you can't hear
audio, you can't hear it anyway. So we're predominantly calling for the people at home. So it's a bit of a catch-22, but I think we get it right most of the time. And it's something that we've had to adjust to, because this is still, even though TV's been around since the 50s, broadcasting speedway, like live streaming and now live on television, has not been around all that long. And we like to think we're doing it better than everyone else. But at the same time, it's still relatively new.
Usually the caller of the races, though, have a really good sense of what's worth watching.
Yes, yeah.
And that's why I think like Gibson and these really good announcers in America they're the directors of the show in a way. By what they say and what they catch, the cameras follow them.
Yeah.
And you're saying it's the other way around. That's got to be hard to do in a sense. That's how somebody could get confused and figure out later that, because the Priolo run was insane.
Yep.
Like he went from like 8th to 2nd, like that.
Yep. Some great passes.
And there's some things there that maybe the camera guys with their mishap on the transport, they're not going to know, but a actual call, like Johnny Gibson would have knew.
Yep. So
and you would have had your audience knowing about this insane instance that happened there.
So we would have probably 6 cameras on the go in a broadcast, so 2 upstairs directly above us. There's one in turn number 1. There's one in turn 3. There's a guy with an RF camera on the infield. They take his vision as well, so that's 5. And then there's a still camera at the finish line, the speed shot. So we've got about 6 different camera angles that we get vision from in a race. Apart from when we got the Maddington Toyota Flycam as well, which we didn't have the other night, which that'll be back shortly. So we've got that one as well. So sometimes we've got as many 7 or 8 cameras. So it's a big production, and not everything gets captured, but on the whole, we get most of it right.
Right. It's just, if you're relying on the truck ain't watching the race. No. They're watching their cameras and they're watching the telemetry data.
So you still look outside. I did call a race the other week, the late model races in the late model nationals. I actually called them over at the drag strip in the commentary box over there. So I had no vision of the racetrack. So I was calling strictly off the screen. So that is hard because you don't have that. But that's what a lot of the broadcasts in Australia now are, particularly with football. Since the COVID era, a lot of the commentary teams don't actually go to the ground. They're all either based in Melbourne or Sydney. And when they come, when there's a game in the West, they might have one person down on the field, being the infield reporter, our equivalent, and the actual commentary is done elsewhere. So they're relying on the screens to tell the story. So it's a catch-22. Interesting, but that's how we do it. And by and large, it works.
Right, just like the speeding with all the cameras. Same thing.
That was in depth.
Why do you need a cop to shoot radar?
It's funny you should mention that. You reckon you've seen the speed cameras and the cars that hide in the bush, but you haven't seen.
I have not seen a police car.
So today I took him past the police station twice, and there's
no cop cars.
There's no cop car there.
They went full digital.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny too. But I tried, but.
We tried to show me a cop, but they're just letting you. Well, in the States, we got the joke that it's all about the money, anyways, and y'all have done that as well. Y'all just said it's all about the money. We'll just send you some. We'll use cameras to send your tickets. That's what it is, right? I mean, they're still sending tickets. They just don't need cops to do it. It's automated.
Automated, but you've seen them on the side of the road, but they're in plain cars.
Yeah, I thought that somebody needed help. I slowed down for one. It's like, what's happening? Did something bust out his window? What is that hanging?
No, they're everywhere on the side of the road. But I tried to show you a police car, but no.
It's no luck.
No
luck.
Yeah. So you looking forward to tomorrow night?
No,
not at
all.
Oh,
it's too hot up there.
Does he mean it has been 42 and 40?
I could potentially lose $200 before the races even start.
Well, you could do. So who should we be barracking for?
What do you mean? What is barracking? Well, that sounds like you need
supporting, cheering. Rooting, you say rooting for. Who should we put our money on so that you don't lose your money?
No, it's the front end challenge between Jason Priolo and.
But
Brody.
aren't you putting the money up?
Yeah, on Brody.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So the pressure's on Brody.
The pressure is on Brody, just as much as the pressure was on you.
It was
to pick between skydiving.
And hang gliding.
Yeah.
So that happened.
So this guy is a national treasure. I didn't know about all this stuff. I didn't know about the gay guys and Illuminati and all this stuff. And then I met him. Oh, wait, never mind. Wrong person. I was thinking of Jeff Gordon. My bad.
So I went to Rio in 2015. And
You've traveled the world.
yeah, I have. So it was my birthday in when I was in Rio, and a mate of mine got me a helicopter ride on Copacabana Beach, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And we got out of the helicopter, and we got in two separate cars, and the two cars, the car I got in would not have been entered in a demolition derby. It was pretty beat up. In fact, I'm not sure how it was going, but it was pretty quick how it all happened, and the two people in the front seat didn't speak English, and I certainly didn't speak Portuguese or Spanish, and we started going up this hill, and the forest and it just got denser and denser, and it was only one road up, and I'm going, this is exactly everything you're told not to do, and I'd lost sight of my mate in the other car. And anyway, long story.
This was in the Dominican Republic?
No,
Rio,
this was in Rio.
Rio.
So eventually we got to the top of this hill, and there was a whole heap of people there. Thank God for that. And then my mate turned up, and I was really angry because I'd put myself in that situation. And he said, "You've got two choices." And I said, "What are they?" And the two choices were either parachute or hang glide to the bottom, down to the beach. So I thought that parachuting tandem would have been the better of the two options.
So hold on. Let's set the story here.
Yeah.
You took a trip to Rio with a friend.
I was on a 6-week holiday, yeah, and caught up with some friends.
This was in between managing the Sedan racing?
So I was...
what year was this?
This was 2015. So I worked in a bank. I was a bank manager and got made redundant.
Where was this bank?
So it was. I was working here locally and got made redundant after 27 years. So instead of like putting all the money into the house or whatever and going and get another job, decided to go and travel the world. And as it turned out, really good experience to do, because who knew what was going to happen with COVID?
Right.
So so part of the trip ended up in Brazil, and then down the east coast of Brazil, and ended up in Rio, and ended up on the top of this tallest mountain.
Well, your friend said, let's ride a helicopter.
Yeah.
And then you ride a helicopter, you get out, and you're just shoved into a car.
Yeah.
And you think you may be being held for ransom, because that's what they do with foreigners. They hold you for ransom, and then they get the money, and then they shoot you.
Well,
that's how it goes.
Correct. So
they usually go after white women, because anybody will pay money for the white woman.
So at the end of the day, you can tell the story now that because it survived, but got to the top.
You thought you were about to get killed.
Well, it did cross my mind because the forestation was pretty thick. And you don't know. But anyway,
no body, no case.
Exactly. Shouldn't have done it. Did it. Got to the top. And I had the choice. So I tandem parachute.
You're at the top of a cliff.
Yes. It turns out it was one of the tallest mountains in South America. So basically it's on a bit of an incline. And all I got told was just lift your feet when you get to the end. And that's what I did. And then we just started free falling.
Had you ever skydived or anything before in your life?
No, never. So I took the plunge literally.
What did the friend? The friend did the skydiving?
No. He did the hang gliding. So he got the worst of it, because when he landed, it barrel rolled down the beach.
Well, that's different.
So you saw the skydivers the other day at the Motorplex, and
yes,
almost to the meter, the four of them landed in the same spot within a 10-meter. Just precision. I wasn't quite that, but I landed on the beach where I needed to, and yeah, that was the end of my stupidity. I haven't done anything like that ever since. But yeah.
Well, you were telling me. Well, we were watching some show where people were coming into the country and they got all this
Border Force.
Border Force, yes. I've been introduced to Outback Truckers and Border Force. Very interesting shows. But you were telling me how when you leave Australia will warn you of stuff not to do.
Yes.
And there was the one trip to was it the Dominican Republic?
Yeah, I went to the Dominican Republic.
For some reason, you skipped Jamaica, Bahamas. You didn't do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You didn't do well, you might have done Cancun. I don't.
Yeah, no, I did. But I went to a resort called Punta Cana.
Oh, that sounds interesting already.
It does, but we were told not to leave the resort. So, of course, when you're told not to do something,
you want to do it.
Of course.
The way you get the human to cross the road, you tell them not to do it.
Yeah, so in that instance, we hired a taxi, so we thought that would be a good thing to do. And they stopped there was a roadside bar.
So you had left the resort with the taxi.
Yeah. And
something the Australian government told you not to do, white boy.
I'm probably getting into a lot of trouble here. Yeah, so stopped there was a roadside bar, and as you see in movies, everyone there with Jamaicans and things like that, and then along comes white boy, and the music stopped, the reggae music stopped, and they were
like screeching noise on the record.
It was like,
and everybody looked.
And everyone's looking like, who's this guy? And they ended up putting me behind the bar for my own safety, but then when they realised there was no risk, the music started. And
what, they think you were some undercover agent or something?
God knows, but yeah. So I've had some interesting times travelling around the world, but yes, that was some interesting times. But back to reality now.
What do you mean? What is reality for you?
Well, reality is I've got a full-time job working as the general manager of the South West Football League, which is
you mentioned the skydiving. When you said the skydiving, so I was walking towards the pitting area because I heard Callum had some issues in qualifying. They had to change the rear end, and on the way, it was funny. This is how this happened. So on the way back to the pitting area after qualifying, I ran across some guy, and I don't know what's wrong with some of you guys. This is one thing I have noticed. Some of your fans are very highly emotional. So I was walking, and a bunch of people were walking. There's a lot of people at the Motorplex. And this is all on camera, by the way. I have all this on camera. I was walking, and some guy was on the phone on the fence line as I was walking, just fucking going off on the wife or something like that. Like, she should love me and not put me out like that. I was like, whoa. And there was two girls next to me that said, wow, keep that shit at home. And I was like, y'all heard that shit too? So I started talking to them. The one girl... They were two girls, and the one I noticed because she was walking with canes, and she had a broken foot or something. So started talking to them as we're walking back there, and the skydivers were coming and was landing, and we were all filming it, watching it, and the one guy was like, wow, he's coming in really, really hard. And I was like, yeah, if you keep that up, you'll break your ankle like her. And come to find out, she broke her ankle playing footy ball, this football AFL deal.
Yep.
And then she tried to say I also barrel race. She asked me, do you know what barrel racing is? I said, yeah, it's when you race with the barrel. Duh, the name says it yourself. But this AFL thing, it is literally soccer with a football.
No, it
is soccer with a football. Instead of kicking it on the ground, you kick it through the air to get near the goal, and then you kick it through. How wide is the full 4 bars? There's 4 bars up in the sky.
They're not even bars. They're poles.
Poles.
The goalposts.
The goalpost, I guess y'all call them. How long are they width? The one to the other.
They're 6.4 meters apart.
6.4
between each post is 6.4 meters.
So then we're talking about what is that?
19.2 meters, or 6.4 meters is about 20 feet.
So but there's 4 posts.
Yeah, so 20 feet.
So from the first post to the last one, how much are we talking?
Well, it would be 60 feet. 60
fucking feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching these guys when I got introduced to this in Geelong, which that might GEETROIT down there. Well, that's where Ford was. GEETROIT was, by the way. Y'all's car industry, whole nother subject. I don't know why you want to become dependent on China. There's a big example called the U.S. that shows you why that's bad. But regardless, the guys can kick this ball on the run, through the air, on the run to another guy accurately.
I'll get you one.
Oh, go get it. Go get your little ball, your little football. Go get it. Go get it. Oh, I'll pull out your damn... Look, what is this? Look at this. Look at this. He's got plaques over here with his name on it, ladies and gentlemen. Look, that says Jason Crowe. Grand Annual Final League and all this shit. I don't want to hurt your plaque. Hold on.
So that's an Aussie rules football.
Yeah, that's an Aussie. So they kicked this ball that is it looks like a football. Fuck the soccer ball. A real football. Pigskin.
Yeah. It's a bit flat. But
it's flat.
Yeah.
As flat as some of these booties I'll be seeing walking around in Australia. They may be skinny, but it's flat.
That's what it looks like.
But now, regardless, they kicked this ball down the field to other guys running on the money.
Yeah.
And in football, we call it on the money where you throw it. Y'all don't throw it. It would be really cool if y'all did. And then they get down there to what you have described to me as 60 fucking feet.
But they've got to kick it through the middle ones.
No, you got to kick it through any of them.
No,
you just got to kick it through any of them. You get a point for any of them. Right? The two edges, you get 1 point, right?
Oh, you're doing well. And
then the middle one,
6. Yep.
So I've witnessed these fuckers. I don't want to call them fuckers because I hear they're tall. And that don't matter to me. Hey, kneecaps get kicked in the same way all the time.
How did we get to this subject?
So they accurately kick them to guys on the run.
Correct.
This is hard.
It's skill.
Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just like the soccer players do the same thing, but on the ground. Well, regardless, they get down there. They got 60 fucking feet, dude.
Yeah.
And they can't do it. They can't do it. What are you talking about? This is worse than Priolo spinning out. How do you get that close and just throw it all away?
I don't have an answer for you there.
You know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. I'm redlining this thing right now. Push it to your side. I'm waiting.
People can actually miss from on the goal line under pressure, but the ball doesn't wail that much. It's pretty light, so any wind will actually affect the direction of the ball.
The direction of the ball while you're kicking it to a guy running down the field as well. Yeah.
Doesn't look like I'm going to win this argument.
There is no argument. What is that? What is it?
Well, it's just like me trying to understand the Super Bowl the other day.
What do you mean? This is the difference.
Super Bowl. Let me get started on the Super Bowl. You've got two teams within the one team. You got the offensive and the defensive team, and they all wear padding. None of our players wear padding. We have
something called skilled positions.
Hang on a minute.
Y'all can't even kick a ball through 60 feet of opening. We have skilled positions, sir.
All right.
Continue.
We'll have to agree.
We have skill. No, this is a great debate. Let's have the debate. AFL to NFL.
Chaz wanted to actually put a GoPro on a football player, an Aussie Rules football player, except for Aussie Rules football players don't have padding, don't wear helmets, don't wear gloves. So I don't know where you're going to put the GoPro, but nonetheless. And then in cricket, we
ain't even starting on this
with the cricket. You reckon the cricket players wear Mickey Mouse gloves?
They are Mickey Mouse gloves. They are Mickey Mouse gloves. Have you not seen Mickey Mouse, people?
3 days I've had this.
Have you seen the pictures of Mickey Mouse?
I have. Yes.
Have you seen the gloves that are on your players?
Yeah, I have.
Does it look very similar,
I don't know
sir?
how we got to this subject.
No, does it look very similar, sir?
They do.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it that way, to be honest.
Because you never thought of it logically. You can't even kick through 60 feet of opening.
I can't believe you're actually trying to say that football replicates soccer.
It's just like soccer to me. Cricket is cricket.
At least we score in football. Soccer, you can go 90 minutes for a nil or draw.
That's because they have a goalie. They at least made it difficult. Okay. In AFL, they give you 60 feet with no goalie.
Okay, we'll have to agree to disagree.
How are you doing it? How are you missing it? How much gambling is involved in Australia? Oh, wait, there's a gambling parlor at every single corner. I think I know why AFL exists. It's called moving money when you need to move it.
All right.
That's how it works in America.
So,
24 to 25.
Getting back to it, I actually work for the Southwest Football League.
Oh, my God.
I'm the general manager, so that's my day job.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
he was on a conference call last night. I almost didn't make it through. I'm like, how are these motherfuckers arguing about this shit?
Yeah, so I work for...
He was actually getting really rude with the one guy. He was like, oh, you really think you want to do that, sir? Oh, you really do? Oh, I don't think you should do that. So, that's good, though. Disagreement shows a competence. So
Speedway is my release or get out or hobby on weekends. So it works well. And the football is winter predominantly. So they sort of overlap.
Okay.
Yeah, which is cool.
Well, and that's how NFL and racing works as well.
Yeah.
Knoxville Nationals is over, a couple weeks. NFL starts.
Again.
NFL's over now. Florida Speed Weeks.
Yeah.
But our NFL does overlap with y'all's racing season. I think that hurts y'all, actually.
Does
For
it?
the American audience, yeah. I think especially, well, on a Sunday, I guess not really, because y'all's racing is a day ahead.
With the time difference.
Yeah, because right now it's 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, and it would be Monday morning, I believe. Yes. It's Monday morning, 9 a.m. right now.
Yep.
So, can we talk about cricket?
Oh, gosh, we're going there. Okay, yeah.
I think that cricket, when I first watched it, I watched this thing called a test. And the sumbitch told me for 5 days people buy tickets to get drunk and go to sleep and wake up again. And I sat there and watched it. And I'm like, okay, I could see how baseball evolved from this game. Because there's a lot of similarities to baseball and cricket.
There are a few.
And I could see how somebody evolved the game of cricket into baseball.
Yeah.
For entertainment purposes. Because I think the reason y'all call it cricket is because it's so fucking boring. That's the honest truth about the situation. So, and then you can't even throw the ball. You call it bowling. What the dude like gallops up like a fucking horse and whips the ball. What are you doing? And then the fun part about it apparently is that the ball is super hard and it could smash someone's face.
Well, they do wear a helmet.
That's the cool part. No, some of them don't. They don't even wear gloves. Mickey Mouse gloves.
And everyone wears gloves. The only time they don't wear a helmet is when the spinner is on, who's the slow bowler. He only bowls it at 100 kilometres an hour instead of 140. But
apparently people get hit by it all the time, get hurt and injured, and that's the fun part. Breaking faces in. Why do y'all love violence so much? What's wrong with you? Are y'all a prison state? Oh, wait.
Don't go there. So anyway, there is a similarity between baseball and cricket. So for baseball, have nine on the field.
9 innings.
Yeah.
Or you're talking about people.
Yeah, 9 on the field.
Believe so.
Yeah. God, I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, you got a pitcher, you got a catcher, first baseman, shortstop.
Yeah, and you got the outfielders.
Outfielders, which is 3.
Yeah,
and then there's another one, shortstop and first baseman.
I'm pretty sure there's 9. But
third baseman, sorry.
Yeah, so
9.
And cricket's got 11. So there's what you watched was a test match, and it was between Australia and the West Indies. Now, Australia are the world champions at Test cricket.
Okay.
The West Indies are ranked 9 or 10, and they got thrashed in the first one that you saw, and it didn't go 5 days; only went 2 and a bit. But they came back and they actually won the second one. But what you've been watching have been T20 matches, and I'm surprised you still can't get into the T20.
So hold on, T20. So they have dinner and then $20. What does that mean?
So
I've been trying to have T20 with women. It don't work. What are you talking about?
So a T20 is an international where it's only 20 overs a side instead of potentially up to 360 overs for a test match. So it's over in 3.5 hours. And it again was between Australia and the West Indies, and Australia have been dominating those as well. Tonight's match was in Perth, but at the end of the day, I don't think I'm going to be able to convert you or even try and get you to understand the rules. So, but anyway.
There's not too many rules, though.
Oh, there's heaps.
How?
Yeah. I'm not going to get started.
It's cricket.
I'm not going to get started. There's heaps of rules. But anyway.
Heaps?
Yeah, lots. Many. A few more than...
AFL don't have
a few more than several. The thing with the AFL is they change the laws all the time. The laws of the game. Yeah, they continue to change them as the game evolves, which frustrates a lot of people.
Well, and then, of course, you still have the debate between AFL and rugby, right? That's still a thing, right? There's still two...
Oh,
because there's so many... It's the same style ball, right? Between the two?
The National Rugby League have got a similar ball. Now, the National Rugby League is played predominantly on the East Coast, so...
Because New Zealand is all rugby.
And plus New Zealand's in it. There's no team in Adelaide and there's no team in WA. Aussie rules is played in every state.
Okay.
So we've got 18 teams, and there's 2 teams in Western Australia. So the Eagles and the Dockers. The Eagles have been a little bit more successful than the Dockers. Actually, a lot more successful.
Now, you have to admit that y'all are closer to us in the NFL than the rest of the world, correct?
In what regard?
We call that a football.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a football.
When you talk to the world, a football is soccer. When you play football, you're playing soccer.
Yeah.
The only other part of the world that calls football something that is not soccer is us.
Yeah.
So you're closer to us than you are the rest of the world.
Well, you may be closer to us. We actually could get 100,000 to our grand final.
I don't even want to look up the numbers of the Super Bowl.
That's why I said it, because I know it wasn't. That's why I said it, because I know there wasn't.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
You're sure?
It was 80,000.
No, because I know the Cowboy Stadium holds 125.
This one was at Las Vegas, wasn't it?
Oh, it's brand new. We have to pull it up.
Gosh.
No, he's one. No.
I'm also
won't take long.
I'm also worried about the comments, because you always read the comments out. I'm concerned.
No. You're fine.
I think I might have lost some of your audience.
No, you're fine.
Sure?
The 1978 Super Bowl had 100,000.
Yeah.
That was in 1978.
So the record attendance for an AFL Grand Final was in 1970. It was 121,797 people at the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
Okay. You're good about that?
Yeah, positive. It's between Carlton and Collingwood.
Okay. So don't let you have it. I'm not gonna show our modern attendance records.
Because was I correct? I was.
They won't. I can't get the right answer.
No, I'm positive I'm correct. Anyway,
it says maximum is 65.
There
That's
you go.
sad though.
Yes.
That's sad. Why would they have the Super Bowl there?
Yeah.
Cowboy Stadium holds more than that.
Yeah. But I think you rotate your...
yeah, we do.
Yeah, we don't. Ours is always at the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
But also, there was tickets for the Super Bowl that was like 84,000 for like nosebleeds.
Yeah.
And the suite at the Super Bowl, the one they showed was like 4.6 million.
Yeah.
For the suite. So
it's a lot of money.
If you have less seats, you can obviously charge more.
Correct.
That's something I would like to ask you. I think that Perth could hold 25,000 people if it had seats. Y'all's culture of the fold-out chairs kill your attendance record. Because y'all have had 15.
So at 12,000 there was 12,000 the other week at the Monster Trucks. We had 9,600 and something at the Australian Sprint Car title. So I don't know that I don't know that it does. It certainly fills it up, but we haven't had a crowd that has threatened to the point of it being.
You haven't had butt to butt.
Yeah, okay. So we haven't had it to a point where it's going to get to a point where everyone's not going to fit in there.
You've never been to standing room only.
No, but on that night of the National Sprint Car title, I went outside during one of the C main or the B main, and they were probably standing 10 deep at the back on the top terrace. So yeah, it was pretty populated on that night, but I don't know that the chairs make that like.
It's at least because in the States a seat is 14 inches.
Yep.
Like they mark them.
Yep.
And sell them at 14 inches.
Get that.
And those chairs are at least
twice that size.
At least.
Yep.
They're 32 at least.
Yep.
You know, that's almost 2.5 seats.
But everybody fits. So if it ever became an issue, I'm sure Gavin and the team would work on that, but it's not an issue.
Would that be the only thing that the American racing scene has on y'all right now is attendance? Because obviously you get 25, 30,000 at Kings Royal in Knoxville.
Yep.
33, I believe, is the attendance at Eldora can actually hold more than Knoxville. They actually have the lawn seat situation, kind of, in the grass areas near the fence.
Yep.
That's the one thing that y'all can't have or don't have is not a proper seating venue, but you don't have a technical. You can't technically put a number on how many Perth can hold just because it's a random amount due to the seating.
Yeah, but everyone fits. So and it creates a great atmosphere. Even though we don't have what you're referring to, but yeah, everyone being able to sit together. Everyone is very territorial. If you'd noted where people sit, and I obviously sit in the commentary box, I can almost tell you to the person who's out the front where they're sitting. Everyone is very territorial. So people have got their spots. They get there early to make sure they get them, and they sit with their friends, and it's a good night out.
And obviously you tried to have a post-race party, it seemed like, with the trailer and the giant screen. Does the Chaz need to do an hour comedy act? Do me and you need to do this post-race?
It's truth.
If me and you were doing this post-race, like right now, there'd be more people than were there.
Well, I don't know. Is anyone still watching us now?
Well, I know that the DJ was scaring a few people off, but we're not going to comment on that. Okay. Regardless,
is anyone still watching us? Because that would determine whether that would be worth doing.
There's 15 people right now. They've all left.
Okay.
Nobody cares to watch us talk. Yeah, I'm just kidding. It's a steady. Nobody's left. Nobody's left. So they just said, yes, please do that. We would stay for this. If the Chaz was announcing we're going to be doing a talk show after the race on a big screen and speakers, I would have loved to have some Lockley McHugh jokes. Oh, I had Goodyear's ready. With the crew chief. I don't know how he survived the physical, mental abuse from Paul Silva and made it this far. There's a lot of things to say.
Well,
I honestly think that he added fuel into the car on Friday because you could have done that if it was Kyle and no one would have ever cared. If he was trained underneath Paul, they can they can wear watches and win races. It don't matter with Kyle. You could add fuel. It's okay. They don't care about that stuff.
What I'd suggest is if you want to do that, you'd need to contact the authorities and see.
The authorities? Are we talking about the Australian government at this point?
And see if you can broker a deal. That'd be interesting. It could be.
There'd be way more. I'll do I haven't tried singing publicly. I don't do karaoke. I can make my tunes to track them up. I could track them up with backgrounds, and I could probably pull something off if we need to do a live concert. I just have to organize all my beats and stuff. Put the backtracks in there in the right spots. We can do a concert. Mix it up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There'll be more than no one there. There was no one there.
I'm sure.
Jason, you were there with the Ute guys.
Yeah.
With their little John Daly Utes, and they're bragging about their El Caminos. We were there.
Hey, don't bag them. They're very good. They're
awesome. Yeah. I love El Caminos. I think they're awesome. I'm jealous that y'all destroyed the Ute series around here because they used to have the Supercar series and the Ute series, and I used to thought I love watching El Caminos race. New ones. But I'm just saying, there was no one there.
All right, so you need.
There was no one there, right?
You need to talk to people.
No, hold on, there was no one there, correct? I'm not thinking this up. This is not me just lying, correct?
There were a couple of people there.
There were us. There was the photographer girl.
Yeah. All right.
Who else?
Make it happen.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Me and you talking on the stage would have lasted longer than that.
Oh, well, I think...
although I would do it for free, you'd want to get paid.
Oh,
You're after the money. He tried to strip for this guy earlier.
That's your...
What was it called? The Alleys? With the French girls.
Oh, at Albies.
They were Frenching one another, and you was like...
Oh, God, you're bad.
What do you mean I'm bad?
I actually took...
Hold on, I got to use the restroom again. I'm drinking, you're not. Tell him about the French girls. What happened?
I think it's about time we wrapped up, isn't it? No. I took him to a pub, and unbeknownst to me, I haven't been to this pub for a while. All the girls behind the bar, all of them, are all backpackers, and they're all French. And he asked for a pint of Hahn Super Dry, and she kept on saying, "You want a pint?" And long story short, we worked out that they were all French. But yes, let's go through the comments. We'll try and get through these comments. Chaz, what's your impression of Australian and the state of Australian Speedway from your point of view? I think we covered that one. Still watching on the Sunshine Coast. Great show. Oh, God, we've still got you. He hasn't heard of Mason Cox. I've asked him that one. Sydney Showground had grandstand seating for 30,000. Unfortunately, that one is well and truly closed down. I'm reading the comments.
I hear you.
Is there a front end challenge on tomorrow night, Chaz? Is that front end challenge on tomorrow night? Or
We're waiting for confirmation from Jason Priolo.
okay, so that one's a work in progress. Maybe not.
Jason Priolo has yet to accept the challenge, even though he requested the challenge.
Another one is, I love the fact that the commentary doesn't override the sound of the sprint cars. Some commentary is just so loud and distorted, you can't hear the cars racing.
I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah, so...
I've never heard of commentary overriding sprint car engines.
Okay.
When has that ever happened?
Isn't it a pain driving to and from the Motorplex from Busselton every time? I get used to it. I choose to live down here because I love where I live. And that's part of the reason I got you here, like, to show you my part. I love showing people around my part of the country. It's 2 hours. Probably the big drag at the moment, and you had to go through it on the way down here, is the roadworks. I don't want to derail what we've been talking about, but the roadworks down here have been going, this is the 4th year, and it's horrendous. We're a holiday destination and also have a huge amount of retirees here. And
religious colonies, apparently.
For people from Western Australia, went down past the Holy Mile. We saw the religious camps all on the beach, prime real estate.
I swear I saw Tom Cruise. Scientology, he's the leader.
There's not one there.
He's tricked the entire sprint car world.
But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's what you say. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen,
non-binary.
There is 30 k's of roadworks, and it has been going for 4 years, and it is still nowhere near finished. So in relation to that question, the travel to and from the Motorplex, not a problem, but those roadworks are driving me absolutely spare at the moment.
And somebody just asked, what is the front end challenge? It's on the YouTube channel. Go to the channel after this video and look at, it's the newest video outside of this live. And you mentioned being down here in Busselton, not Brusselton, or Brussels. You actually have a racing history in this whole thing. Now, you were saying earlier how your relatives race.
No, all my family have raced.
But you used to be like the Wade Onder of the Sedan world. What was the case for you?
So I started calling Speedway when I was 14. My very first race, my dad happened to be in it, and I was calling by his name the whole way through. And then it was a very rare thing that Dad actually won a race, and he did on this occasion. And I just happened to say, Dad wins, and that's all I remember, that race, really. And I've been calling ever since. So that was back in 1984. So
1984, Big Brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was very good at English at school, and there was no one writing for the local paper. So they asked if I'd like write a story on the local speedway scene, and one thing led to another. But back in those days, it was before computers, it was before mobile phones. You used to type your story up on, I think initially I was handwriting them, and then it got to manual typewriters. And then
the things with the like ding, ding,
yeah,
ding,
yeah,
ding.
yeah.
Oh wow.
And the carriage return.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah. And then I think initially I was posting them. You'd post them to the national magazines, and something come out 2 weeks later, you would think that was pretty current. And that's how you used to find out what was happening, because there's no websites or anything like that back then. Then it got to facsimile machines, so you could just scan it on through, and that was like a big revelation. And then from there, then obviously computers came in later on. But I was.
So what was your transgression? Was announcer, then sports reporter?
Yeah, so I was doing both. And then picked up a job with Speedway Sedans Australia, which I did for 12 years, running the media and calling the national titles, which enabled me to travel around Australia.
So you were what, announcing the national?
Yeah. And I was lucky to call a lot of national titles, about 60 of them with the sedans. And there was probably the best one, which is...
Modified sedan or supers?
No, all of them. So super sedans, modified sedans, juniors, street stocks, and productions. Some people might have seen that picture. That there is the closest winning margin of all time.
I want to bring it over. There you go.
Yeah. So that's the closest winning margin.
Where's it at?
So that was at Red Line Raceway. So it's in Victoria. just to set the scene, there was 139 entries, 137 started, and then after 52 qualifying heats and finals, it came down to a winning margin of 0.019 of a second, so it was a photo finish.
Wow.
And still to this day, my mate Scott, who does the timing, the timing system actually flickered right at the finish. It was really close, so we had it was like it wasn't instant that it came up. It just flickered, and I had to wait for who would actually cross the line first. It was very, very close. And Anthony Bear ended up winning, and he's gone on to win 7 of them.
He can't be beat, apparently.
Yeah, he's just won another state title. But that was probably the best one, and probably my best race call from a Sedan point of view.
Is that Bear guy the one that video where you showed me where they were spinning out and wrecking at Bunbury and the guy got DQ'd and won it again or something?
Yeah, so there's a history there between him and Jamie Oldfield. They've
no relation to Kyle Oldfield,
no,
the sprint car guy.
No, Luke Oldfield.
Luke Oldfield. Sorry.
Yeah, so Jamie and Anthony Bear have run first and second in a lot of these, and for one reason or another, they've either not finished or they've gone on to win them. They've dominated, but Anthony Bear has invariably won the majority. So that title at Ballarat was probably the best race call, most exciting. We had to call the first night off a couple of heats early because the fog came in, you couldn't see. But anyway, and then last year I got to call the national title at Bunbury, and Anthony Bear and Jamie Oldfield were at it again, right up the front, and it came down to the last corner, and there was a relegation, so Jamie actually finished the race first, but there was contact in the last corner. He got relegated to third. I thought there for a while there was going to be all hell to pay in the crowd. It was very West Australian orientated in the crowd. And after the race had finished, there was contact between the two. Jamie went upside down. Yeah, so it was a controversial finish, but it was my job to just keep everybody calm and then read out the result when it eventually came through. Probably about 10 or 15 minutes later, actually, the stewards took a long time to make the decision. So I did a lot of that. And in the meantime, also, I've been at the Motorplex since 2008. So I've been there for 14 years. A lot of that time was on the infield. But this is my third year permanently in the commentary box as one of the announcers there. So.
Well, but you did the Sedan deal, the national title. Did you announce at every track in Australia at this point?
You
said 12 years.
Yeah, so I called it most of them. There's only a couple of places we didn't get to.
What's the more significant that you haven't announced at?
So probably Warrnambool and Avalon.
Really?
Yeah, they were the two that there was never a national title at while I was there. So I did Parramatta, Archerfield, Maryborough in Queensland, Maryborough, Kingaroy.
Gympie?
Gympie.
That's the one with the hill, right?
Yeah, it's on the side of a hill, dog leg down the back straight and a hairpin at the bottom. I actually like that. There's a lot of good people up there as well. So and Toowoomba, so called there. In Dubbo in New South Wales, been there. Plus Waggunya and a couple of others. I've been at Leeton. Leeton's a massive track, 900 metres long. It's oil-based.
Wow.
It's almost a square. It's got very long straights. It was taking the sedans 30 seconds to do a lap. So it was huge. Victoria called it a lot of the venues there, all three in Tassie, and most of the venues in Adelaide as well. Plus,
this was just modified sedans? What about the supers?
Yeah, so super sedans, modified sedans, street stock production.
Because super sedans to me are really badass. They look like what late models should look like.
Yep.
And the late models of America look like wedge late models. Or y'all used to have Grand Nationals.
Yeah.
That looked like wedge late models.
Yeah, the Grand Nationals were huge. Well, huge as in size. There weren't all that many of them. They were very, very big and wide. They were
like a wedge late model.
Well, I think they were more like a garden shed. They were huge. But, they didn't last very long, probably 4 or 5 seasons maybe. And then
so what happened with super sedans? Did the American late models start messing up?
No, so late models started in, I don't want to get this wrong, but probably in the mid 90s. And they're the premier class, the Sedan class at the Motorplex. And you haven't seen them yet. They're spectacular at the Motorplex.
Super sedans are still over here?
Yeah, they are. There's not many of them here, probably 16 or so. The super sedans are really strong in Queensland and Tassie, but the late models here are really like the racing here is and they're great to call. Spectacular, 3 wide, 4 wide sometimes, and they put on the sliders just like the sprint cars do. The racing.
And they got the 2-seater I need to get into.
Yeah, well, the 2-seater was at practice the other night, and that was rather interesting. And Kai Blight was, I think, piloting that on that night. So he normally.
And then Smoking Joe had the girlfriend in there for one round.
So it was like Kai likes to run up near the fence all the time. But the great thing with the late models is there's probably 8, 9, 10 of them that can win on any given night. Even though one of them might look like they're dominant, the next night someone else comes up and will beat them.
I just noticed a comment. Funny you said there's only 16 in
Western Australia.
It based on a comment. I don't know if this is true or not, but March 2nd and 3rd is the Australian Super Sedan title
At Albany.
Which is not very far from here,
it's
right?
3.5 hours from here.
So 5 hours or 4.5?
From Perth.
From Perth.
You'd go a different way. You wouldn't come down here and go across. You'd go down the Albany Highway.
Now, obviously, the late model title is at Toowoomba, and there's more late models on this side.
Yes.
So is this like a give and take swap here? Like, here's Super Sedan, because Super Sedans are big in the Queensland area, the Toowoomba area. Just kind of how like late models are big over here versus the almost same yin yang scenario. Do you think Super Sedans are going to make that drive from that far away?
Yeah,
is that worth going to?
So on previous experience, they normally get about 10 or 12 interstate drivers, and that would be the same if the late models were coming here to Perth as well. It's a lot. You've got to remember, Perth is the most remote capital city in the world. So, and you know how far it is to travel from one side of the country to the other. It's huge, so and it's expensive. So, I would say probably they'll get 10 to 12 interstate drivers come for that.
Now, we were talking about the modified sedans and their state or their Australian title races that will get too many cars. They'll just get people who show up, kind of like the Australian sprint car event. You just had some cars there that kind of shouldn't have been there. Let's just say it. And they're just there because it's the title race
and they can.
And they want to be a part of it.
Yep.
Whereas this year, the modified sedan Australian title race is in Tasmania. And the only guys who are really going to spend the money to get to Tasmania are the real hitters.
The ones that think they can potentially win.
The real competitors. Yep. So those kind of cars that are just there for a vacation aren't going to be there because it costs too much. Is that basically going to be the scenario at Albany? The only guys that are there are going to be the real hitters?
Correct. I know that the 3 Pascos, Matt and his 2 sons, will be there, and they've been doing extremely well. So the ones that are coming...
And that's the week before the Midget title race.
It is, yes. So so that could be worth going. Albany's a very good facility down there. Got a new lighting system. The climate at Albany can be a little bit tricky. It gets cool. It could be
like Warrnambool cool.
Well, it has propensity to rain.
Really?
Out of nowhere. I've called quite a few titles down there that have been run on a Monday, but had to go into an extra day. But the weather down there is a lot more milder than even up here in Busselton, which is about 6 or 7 degrees cooler than Perth. But Albany, if it's like 35 in Perth, it could still only be 23 or 24 in Albany.
Well, and then I was also told that y'all have about 29 tracks in WA.
Yeah, that's right.
And only 2 of them are, I guess, allowed to have 410s? Or 3 of them. The Eldenbrook, or what is it?
Yeah, Ellenbrook. So
it's 1.
Yeah, suitable. Probably suitable is probably a better word than it's not not allowed. The racing for
the money.
Yeah, probably that too. But they've generally been racing once at Ellenbrook and then predominantly of 3 or 4 meetings a year at Bunbury and the rest of them at the Motorplex. So, it would be maybe nice for them to venture from time to time to other tracks, but again, it comes down to timing, money, and a lot of the tracks, to be honest, couldn't fit the amount of people that would want to go into the venue to actually watch them.
Well, and then the pro, y'all have 3 classes, well, 4 if you continue, or if you count the V6s.
Yeah.
But you have 3 others, or 2 others besides the 410. The pro, which is like a 360.
The pro sprint cars are basically 3.
And then they have the CT525 mixed in with the 360s.
Yeah, and then there's limited sprint cars.
And the limited is like an iron-headed 360 carbureted.
Correct.
So, but there's more of the limited than. The limited and the 410 have the car counts, and the pros kind of like caught in the middle.
They're in the middle. The limited sprint cars are incredibly popular. There's a lot of them, and they generally have between 25 and 30. When I say a lot, like for West Australian standards, remembering our location, 25 to 30 cars regularly at venues.
Now, would that be called for y'all the traditional sprint car of Australia, though, that limited style? Because I remember when Sean walked me through, the cars that he had, y'all didn't get 410 sprint cars from from what I understood from him until about 2000.
Yeah. So
y'all ran on 372s.
Yeah. And then there was a decision made to go to 410. So, there were 372s for quite a long time. Yeah, so...
Was it fuel injection?
That I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Could this?
What I mean by that is like this limited sprint car. The engine package kind of sounds like y'all's traditional sprint cars.
Yeah.
Prior to the 410 integration in the 2000s.
Yeah. So they've been around for a long time, the limited sprint cars, and they're only in Western Australia, I'm pretty sure. But they're incredibly popular, and you've seen them race a great category. More of you don't want to say budget class, but
it's the budget friendly.
Yeah, it is, and
outside the V6.
Yeah, and they're pretty spectacular. There's a heap of them on the racetrack as well. And then you've got the wingless sprints, which are the V6, the 6 cylinders, and they're running tomorrow night. There's about 18 or 19 of them. So
and then this weekend the late models actually join, right?
Correct. Yes. So the late models are on the weekend. So you'll enjoy watching them go around. There'll be a big field of them as well.
So basically, these other 27 tracks, 26 outside of Ellenbrook.
Yep.
I guess they would mainly have sprint car races, but it would either be the V6s, limiteds, or the pros.
Yeah. So what we call the country tracks. So I took you to one today, but unfortunately we couldn't get in, or yesterday we couldn't get in there with Margaret River. But yes, a lot of the country tracks you can actually park your car around the speedway and watch. So you can back your car in and watch from the back of your car, or get your deck chair out. And
they did have grandstands.
Yeah, it had a little grandstand. Yep. They'll be the country tracks. So the staple categories would be junior sedans, street stock, and production sedans. And then you'd have either wingless sprints or limited sprint cars or Formula 500s as your premier category for that particular night, as the visiting category, and that would make up the program for most of the country tracks.
So would Albany having this Australian Super Sedan title race, and from what you just kind of briefly touched on, would Albany be the next best facility, just too far away to really have a 410 event?
Yeah, they have had some down there, but yeah, it is a distance to travel.
But it sounds like it's a competent facility to Bunbury.
Correct. It's got a grass terraced area all the way along the front straight. And you can park from turn 1 around to turn 3, but there's still terraced grass in front of the cars as well, so you can sit all the way around. They've just put in a new lighting system as well, so they've got LED lights down there as well. And the racetrack is very, very good. So the Super Sedan racing down there should be really, really good.
I think I have to go now.
You're staying longer.
I was already planning on being here for the midget title.
You were.
The week before, I didn't really have any. Or is there something at the Plex?
No, there's nothing at the Motorplex on that particular. That weekend's actually a long weekend in Western Australia only. So there is some racing at Collie and Bunbury, which is where I will be. Bunbury on the Saturday and Collie on the Sunday night, I think, from memory. But
I feel like if I go to Australia and don't see a Super Sedan race, I've robbed myself.
Well, looks like you may have to make a trip.
I'm going to have to find a couch to sleep on down there.
I'm sure you'll find someone.
Oh, somebody. Somewhere. It won't be a woman. I'm up against Thor's.
And it's 3.5 hours from here, so it's a long way to drive backwards and forwards each day. So.
I mean, I've drove 40 hours across America.
Yeah, I know. I've heard.
I mean...
But you don't want to be driving from Albany back here each night and then back again the next day. So it's a bit far.
I've done worse.
Yeah, well...
Well, it's a 2-day show.
Yes, it is. Well, actually, it'd be technically 3 because there'll be practice on the Friday, I'd imagine. Yeah. They have practice in a Calcutta, I would assume, on the Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday will be the racing.
Okay. Okay.
We talked
I
about
figured this out now.
Yeah. What are the comments saying? I'm worried.
Oh, they're just talking about races. They're
really?
They're listening.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, they're listening to you.
It's truth.
Well, you're the bad guy. I mean, that's what you told me. Everybody said you're this horrible guy. I agree with them half the time, but...
Okay. Yeah, it looks like I am.
Racing Colin is heading to Albany. Hey, he might help us out.
Racing
Motorplex has drag racing. Yeah. Do y'all ever drag race the dirt cars? Is there ever a day y'all do that for fun?
No. So
because we've seen the clips of sprint cars drag racing and late models drag racing. I thought that was from here.
So when the Motorplex is running speedway, the drags aren't on, and vice versa. So if there's no speedway on, the drags will be on the alternate week.
Except y'all have one weekend where it's both or something.
So that's called Powerpalooza on opening night and the last night. So the first and the last night. So the drags are on in the late afternoon, and that's spectacular. And then that then turns into burnouts. The burnouts are happening while the qualifying's happening on the speedway side. The burnout finals finish, and then the speedway effectively kicks off in the evening. So those particular nights, you get around 10,000 people in the venue all at the one time. The whole venue is being used. So that's pretty cool. And speedway people are watching the drags. The drag people come over and watch the speedway. So it works.
Yeah, because you can literally stand up and walk across and watch.
You got the spine in the middle, which that's what we call it, the spine in the middle. So you can go from the drags, turn around, you're watching the speedway. So, yeah, there's 2 of those a year.
Now, somebody just commented and said, Super Sedans at Gympie, always a great night. Can you explain to people what Gympie actually is?
So, Gympie Speedway...
While I get a beer.
Yeah, so Gympie Speedway is on, I think it's about 10 or 11 metres from top to bottom. It's sort of on the side of a hill. So you come up the main... You literally do drive up the main straight. There's a sweeping turn up into turn 2, and then you come back down the hill...
How much down are we talking?
I think it's about 10 or 11 metres, so around 35 feet. So it is significant. And then there is an S-bend in the back straight, and then it turns into a dog leg. But it's different, and it's spectacular.
I guess they're calling it Mother Mountain now?
Mother Mountain. Yeah, Mother Mountain Speedway.
And that's probably why.
Yeah.
Because of the... significant mountain that is literally on the speedway.
It's on the side. Yeah, so it's a great venue, and I've been there a few times, and
actually gonna pop up some a clip of this track.
Yeah, it looks really good. So it's different, and some drivers can get the hang of it pretty quickly, and some struggle. But
oh my God, we have it on the camera right now. Super Sedan Summer Slam.
Yep,
they named it right.
Yep.
I mean, with what I'm looking, oh my God, it's like Pocono took some cocaine and wrapped around to the ghetto. What is this? That's a roller coaster ride.
It's
oh my God, and they race cars.
Yeah,
sprint cars.
No, they don't race sprint cars.
I can see fucking why.
Yeah, but
you wouldn't want to put anybody's life in danger.
So all the sedan categories race.
Oh my God. These sedans are badass, man. I'm telling you. These are the real race cars of fendered racing. Oh, wow. There's a wreck. Oh, my. No wonder. Wow. Wow. So that's the hill you're talking about, and then they go down here and just U-turn her. They race V6s, non-wings here?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't been there for the last couple of years.
Oh, my God. How did you feel going to this track for the first time in your life?
Well, I knew what it was.
Did you know?
I did know what I was going.
But I feel like you can't literally know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, until you actually go there and see it, and then it's like, well, it's different. But
and that's where? Is that Queensland?
Yeah, it's in Queensland. It's Gympie. And there's people saying it's an awesome track, and it is. It's awesome because it's different. It's not an oval. It's not a showground. It's something else. And it's good to be different. So it races really well. Track's always pretty good, and it's fast. And you've got to be able to get the hairpin right. You've got to be able to get the dog leg right in the back straight as well. So
when we were talking about, or I was asking you for advice on what my travels should end up being here, because I got to leave first week of April.
Yep.
And after the midget title race, I really don't have plans. And I was thinking about, Tasmania, there's options, modified sedan titles down there. I kind of talked about that. But then there's also a lot of people in the Gold Coast, Queensland area, and we got a 30K at Gladstone for the sprint cars. Sydney is returning the 24th of March. And then there's obviously a weekend or two on if I was to leave here immediately, there would be that 14-15 weekend, I believe, before Sydney. And then there would be the 1st, 2nd of April after the 30K at Gladstone. And you were like, there's just so many tracks in the Queensland Gold Coast area that it feels like, Gympie, if I was to go to that side, I'd have to circle that racetrack as a must-see.
Yep. And as I said to you, and people will probably correct me from Queensland, but Gympie, Maryborough and Kingaroy and Toowoomba aren't all that far apart in the whole scheme of things.
Do they kind of race in unison, or do they go up against one another?
I believe they race in unison. I may be wrong there, but
you could do a swing of a weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So generally they try to race in together because otherwise they're taking competitors from one another. But in the scheme of things, those 4 venues are not all that far apart from one another. So if someone was kind enough to you and put you up, you'd be able to get to all 4 of them.
Or at least give me a ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a back seat to sleep in.
Yeah.
A single woman or
a car that doesn't take diesel.
Wow. This son of a bitch.
Back to where we started.
First of all, the myth. First of all, I got to say this to all the American men. If you think you're coming over here to wham bam, thank you ma'am, Australian women, it's not going to happen.
I just saw another comment here.
It's not going to happen.
Are you coming back next year for the Motorplex's 25th anniversary?
Well, there is talk of High Limit coming here. We obviously interviewed Gavin.
Yep.
And brought it up. There's a race that I think is Motorplex probably 25th anniversary worthy. So me and Kyle Larson,
yep,
said in his David Gravel interview that I am a good race car driver. I hope people heard me right. And if you need to clean your ears and go research this, Larson says that Chaz is a good race car driver. He says it because I raced for 1 year. And he's watched, whenever I do something, Kyle watches. I don't watch him. He watches me. Caitlin watches even more, but that's my point. So me and Kyle joked about doing a match race. I was serious. He joked. He told me to set it up. Time went on. But there is another race that has somewhat been kindled around this last year and a little bit the year prior. And that's a match race between the Chaz and Caitlin Larson. Now, she wants to do it in a midget.
Yeah.
I want to be able to hit it. Not in that way.
Yeah.
I want to be able to hit her on the track with a vehicle.
And that's why I don't race.
I'm thinking if High Limit comes to Perth, the next best event that is must-see television is the Chaz versus Kyle Larson, or Caitlin Larson at Perth. In a modified sedan.
In a modified sedan?
Because in a modified sedan, I can lay the wood. Not in that way.
I may have to lock up the Commodore.
I mean, the Commodore is nice, buddy. That Commodore is the Buick LeSabre of all gods. But the Chaz versus Caitlin Larson, intermission entertainment at a high limit Perth Motorplex race 2015. You could do that on a Wednesday and sell it. Oh, I would sell it. That's the show.
Okay.
That's what everybody wants.
So we're looking forward to that already.
It's contemplated.
Mm-hmm.
But she wants to do it in a Midget, a high-speed vehicle. I don't mind Owen. I'm not trying to take his mom from him. If I go onto the racetrack, I'm coming to hurt you. If I can't beat you, I'm taking you out.
That's why I don't race, because that would be me.
Well, at least I would talk like I'm going to do that, and then I'd just straight up run away from you. Kyle knows he would get beat by me. That's why he knows. Ricky Thornton Jr. knows. All of these guys know. If I was on the track, they'd be second. Now, at the end of the day, Caitlin doesn't know because she's a woman, and she's a little lower than us. But
no, don't go there.
I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But if all systems go,
mm-hmm.
and America survives the presidential election, because that's the question mark. That's the question mark.
We will be watching.
That's the question mark.
Or I'll be watching.
The only reason I'm here and spent to $200 to get here is because the last go round before the election, 2019, I think it was, I was like, oh, I'll go down to $200. I should be smart, not do it. Bam! What did they do? COVID happened. So I was like, it's an election year again. I ain't letting it happen. So I made the jump.
My brother's prepared to offer his production sedan up to take on Kyle Larson.
I need more speed than that. I want something that you could sling into the corner and really get a wham into the backside of her. You know, I really want to put it.
No, he was suggesting Kyle, but anyway.
Oh well, Kyle can jump in on the show too. I mean, anybody who wants some can jump in. We'll get Al Fargaballo out there or something. You know, get Gavin out there. He apparently used to race.
He was a very good racer.
He apparently beat Randy Hannigan because of the parts guy got in the way. So I mean, we could do this. We could have us an all-star show at the Plex that they ain't ready for. I don't think they're ready.
Probably not.
The Chaz will either get smaller and smaller by lap, or all of a sudden you won't see the Chaz, and the next thing you know, the Chaz is in the side of you and you're in the concrete, buddy. And when it comes between me and the concrete, you're in it first, not me. That's my best Conor McGregor impression I can get right now. If you smell what the Chaz is cooking. Yeah. No, I'm just playing. Anyways. No, but if it works out, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm worried about politics. People are sold. Like, the only reason I kind of open the show or hint to this Biden doesn't matter deal or presidents don't matter deal is because so many people in the States really believe that this is life or death or God or hell and devils and shit. Like, they really think that there's, like, Democrats eating babies and stuff. I mean, even though it's potentially true, I mean, well, hey, I mean, Epstein's got everyone thinking, you know, so they're thinking anything's possible after that. So my point is like, they think if this guy don't become president, the world's going to end. Where it's like, I'm trying to say, like, don't we all see Biden is kind of like incoherent with life, can't say sentences, can't walk outside, but the USA's went along as planned. So it's proof that a president doesn't matter. Because the president that we have right now doesn't matter. It just goes as a machine. It's called a war machine, but that's a whole nother situation. So hopefully, if the America world,
if all the stars align,
if people aren't dumb and they're smart, then I will try to find a way back. Now, this Callum thing's real big.
Yep. We haven't even
this Callum thing's big. Like because I plan on carrying this Callum story. I mean, Kevin, the car owner with the Tron cars, already invited me to stay in his house and go along with the story, and I see no reason why not to. It's one of the best stories out there. You know, what's funny is when my first video on Dirt Track State of Mind, which was the original name of my content on Facebook, hit 86,000 views in like 2 days. And it was talking about how the Jeff Gordon character has destroyed motorsports, and we forgot about the Dell Seniors, the working man of motorsports. And that's kind of true. We don't make a superstar out of a Dell Senior anymore. It's always the rich kids who come up, or 14-year-olds, your Corey Days, your Jade Avedisians. Those are the stars, And even Kevin Swindell talked about how, in an interview with Jeremy Elliott, how, late model racing in America is so far advanced because they never cared about NASCAR. They never cared about all these things. And in sprint car racing, we forgot, and even NASCAR is way far gone because we've been trying to emulate them or stifle our drivers to them. We forgot about the working guy, the 30-year-old, the 35-year-old. That the late model world, if you succeed, you are the king. And it's funny how Callum's character, and I had no idea about it. I just knew of a black car. I didn't know his age. I didn't know where he was from. I didn't know how he got there. I just saw him do some stuff. Here's a guy I never heard about before. He did some stuff. I wanted to highlight it.
Yeah.
But then to come to find out that he is this 30-year, I've been talking about this for years. It's almost like out of my mouth creation, like thought it's creation style thing. 30-year-old hard worker guy. Like anybody who's watched my content for years knows that's what we need to be worried about. The 30-year-old who's been working his whole life, got him to where he's at. And that's the story of a Callum Williamson. When I got to his office to stay in the shop, the guys working in there, they were like, yeah, man, just 2 weeks ago, he was out pulling 15-hour days, working.
Yeah.
And that's the guy that this sport's missing. That is good as well. Has the talent, just finally got the money and opportunities and the situations and the right stars aligning kind of situation like this is. And I really think promoting a Callum Williamson style character, even though the Jock Goodyears are the style that everybody wants, because I've already heard the USA guys kind of say that. The Jock Goodyears is the 22-year-old, the little kid, the guy who's got it all, These other guys got it too. And I think a Callum Williamson character is what motorsports needs to succeed. So I think carrying that story into America is awesome. And it is funny or coincidental that his race shop is located in Lansdale, Western Australia. So if I was to frame what I had done in this, I had landed Dell a ride, because Callum is, and he's black number 3. This is so hilarious. He is the Dale Earnhardt Sr. of the sprint car world. Yep. He's the working guy, getting an opportunity and some stardom to maybe do some big shit. Now, when he gets to PA, I interviewed some drivers, Mitch Warmel. I want to keep saying Warmel, but it's Warmel. He talked about how important it is and the culture shock he's going to endure because Callum's a really nice guy. He's a real good person. And then I interviewed a fan in the tent and I asked him, he was talking about how Callum's getting a shot and he's studied Speedway his whole life. It was just a general fan of the sport that's been there for a long time. And he said, I think the biggest issue he's going to face is the culture. And I was like, oh, this is what I've been saying. So what? I didn't say that to him, but I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't know how he's going to deal with the Danny Dietrichs. And right when he said it, I knew exactly what he meant. And I was like, oh, so you mean the guys who are just straight up assholes, who are just bad people. And they're going to, there's bad, and I don't think Callum understands this yet. There's guys over there. It don't matter how nice or genuine you are. They're ready to hurt you today. They're ready to go into turn 3 like Danny did to Freddie Raymer and send you over at 150 miles per hour, which is 225K. There's some actual ruthless cutthroat sumbitches over there that he's going to be on the track with. And that fan recognizes that. And I recognize that. I don't know if they have recognized that really, but they need to be prepared. Hopefully me saying it to them and, these testimonials from people witnessing it or who have paid attention to the PA scene. This is not just hard on the track as far as what he's going to have to do is really hard. Learning how to drive Williams Grove, learning how to get around Lincoln, a very technical racetrack, learning how to run the boards at Port Royal, which the Speed Palace, which is basically Bunbury, twice the size with a little banking. These are extremely hard things that Callum's going to face. Now, if he's this home run hitter and he goes in there and does some impressive things, this is fairy tale shit.
Yeah.
You know, it already is fairy tale in a way for this area of the country. But if he could go in there and hit some home runs and me be there and everybody paying attention to it, that's a big deal. You know, that's a real hard thing that's happening. And I almost see that Callum Williamson going to doing all that as more intriguing than High Limiter Outlaws in a way. Because this is something that, you know, I could pay attention to High Limiter Outlaws. It's still going to be Brad Sweet and David Gravel winning or up front or whatever. But this Callum Williamson thing has a lot of question marks and intrigue involved as well. And there is going to be some legitimate good and bad guys involved. You know, so how that all works out and transpires could lead to if I'm here at Perth or welcome at Perth. Because I'm not going to let Danny Dietrich or somebody bully him around and not say something about it. And then I'll be the bad guy. You know, everybody else is wanting to be nice. But I just can't sit back and watch bullies be bullies. You know, and when people bully each other on the racetrack, that's what I'm known for saying is Donnie Schatz said Donnie Schatz helped me out a little bit to come here to Australia to begin with. And when he said, or when he gave a little bit of Australian dollars, not a lot, but some, I said, so what do you want me to do? Be nicer to the Outlaws or something? You loyal? I'm talking shit to him. He says, no, just keep doing what you're doing. I said, so what is that? He says, keep calling a spade. So that's what people enjoy with me is I say what it is, call it out when it's wrong, call it out when it's right, try to be fair. I'm very intrigued on this Callum PA thing. I don't know if the Western Australia people know, because Callum is this good guy. You know, he is this good person.
And for those he's incredibly popular.
Right.
Probably more popular than any other sprint car driver at least in the last 20 years. There were a few fan favourites, like incredibly popular drivers pre-2000, but these days he is incredibly popular. And you've seen it, like they've got their own corner, like a whole block of seats.
Yeah.
Where they all sit.
Well, and then they're spread out throughout.
And
you know, those are
the
the Callumites over there. You know, they're insane Callum Williamson fans, but then there's normal Callum Williamson fans spread
throughout as well. But so he's incredibly popular. So I think by him going over there is going to it's going to be our off season, but it's going to give a lot of people who are going to be interested in watching how he performs over there. In all the races that we'll be able to see. So I think from that point of view, it might take him a couple, but I think he's of the...
Mitch Warmel was very adamant that he's going to pick up speed fast and perform.
I'm pretty positive.
There's a lot of doubters over there, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. But I'm pretty confident from what I know of Callum that maybe take a couple of race meetings to get into the full swing of it. It's just, if I go back to the Gympie scenario, that track is totally different. I know some drivers who went there first time and were like in super stands and in late models and were quicker than anyone else who'd been around there, including drivers who race there on a weekly basis. So you can pick up a track.
And I got him on the iRacing.
Yeah.
I told him, I said you might want, and I talked to Daniel Lasowski about this at the Classic.
Yep.
I said, I'm telling him to get on iRacing immediately.
Yeah.
Because at least, I'm not talking about just the cars and driving, the tracks, you know, learning where the walls are at and where the entry points are on the track and just the general layouts of the racetracks. At least iRacing has laser scan Lincoln, laser scan Williams Grove, laser scan Port Royal. And he took some video on how he couldn't go down the straightaway at Williams Grove. But, I mean, we're learning that. But I'm just saying, like, he at least has an opportunity to kind of learn these tracks before he gets there.
Yeah.
And that's going to help a lot. But it's also going to be that there's some boys over there race those sprint cars like late models. You know, they bang wheels.
Yep.
You know, Fred Raymer, which was Freddie Raymer's dad, I mean, there's some clips of him, you know, putting guys in the wall at 140, you know, just because he don't like them. Or well, you can't say that publicly, but you know, behind the scenes, it's like that was intentional. You know, really risking lives. So it's a scary scenario because these tracks ain't slow. There ain't no little short tracks over there.
No, definitely not.
So, I mean, it's an intense thing. Obviously, I'm also saying a lot of this to hopefully, I know Danny watches from time to time, hopefully get him to be a little nicer. Maybe if we got the whole world of Western Australia saying, no, what's this guy? He's an asshole. The Chaz is, maybe he'll back off. Maybe he won't do some dirty stuff on the track. But a guy like him, he may want to do it just because of it, just because it's somebody. I watched him straight up dump Aaron Reitzel at Bridgeport when Aaron Reitzel was in the Roth car because of an interview that I did with Reitzel. Because Reitzel, I asked Reitzel, why did the fans boo you? And Reitzel said, it was just Danny Dietrich fans. This was at Williams Grove. He won the Outlaw race in the 83 car. And he was in a championship battle, Rookie of the Year battle. And the next race was Tuesday at Bridgeport. And Danny Dietrich and his whole crew basically threatened to attack me and bury me in the ground. I was like, what the fuck? Why are y'all upset about Danny Dietrich's known for causing controversy? It wasn't like it was Aaron saying, Danny Dietrich was a piece of shit. It was just he saying his fans were, rowdy, basically. But then I watched later that night in that A main, Reitzel and Dietrich racing, and Danny Dietrich just straight up just took Reitzel out in a championship battle, in a Rookie of the Year scenario, racing with the Outlaws. So this is the type of guy that will do stuff for fun on guys, just to be that person. So it's one of those, it's those style of people that I'm worried about when it comes to racing at these high speeds with this kind of build up, with coming into a scenario to be somebody. This is a guy who likes to spoil and bully people on the racetrack, in my opinion. That's what I think. So
of all our talking tonight, who's done the more interviewing, me or you?
Sounds like you so far. Hopefully I ain't signing checks that Callum's ass can't catch. But somebody said Callum's the SVG of the dirt world.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. You think so?
We'll soon see.
I mean, Williams Grove, I mispronounced earlier. I said Port Royal's like Bunbury, but twice the length. Williams Grove is literally Bunbury. Like the banking, like everybody says flat. Bunbury's kind of flat. Yeah, Williams Grove is Bunbury, but twice the length with the same width of corners. So, I mean, that's the track that is probably going to be the hardest to learn, which is Kyle Larson didn't do well there. I mean, Kyle Larson apparently, last time he was here, he did horrible at Perth when he raced. And at the Classic, he was horrible. But that's because Kyle Larson is human, and he's not just God like everybody believes he is, in my opinion. But trying to... hopefully there's some Larsonites in the comment section that just started throwing things at the screen. Fender benders need to be a weekly speedway event at the Motorplex. What is a fender bender? Okay,
so a fender bender, from my memory, raced. I think they race in Queensland. I might be mistaken, but a fender bender is a contact sedan class. I think they're only in Queensland, or maybe they're in New South Wales. They're not raced over here, but. Yeah, it's still a race, but you're allowed to take out the opposition. Maybe that's a class for you.
Maybe. Well, this sounds like PA sprint car racing, to be honest with you.
I don't know about that, but anyway, sedans. It's a sedan where contact is allowed, and it doesn't always help to be at the front.
Well,
until the very end. Because you become the number one target.
Well, to cap this Callum thing off, for the record, he is going to be on the road right as he gets in. Funny enough, when you look at the schedule that Callum and them have, he's going to be World of Outlaws and High Limit for the first month, basically. Yep. He'll be there in weeks of April to the last week of May will be Williams Grove High Limit, Port Royal, or Williams Grove World of Outlaws. I believe it's Port Royal High Limit show. I believe they go up to New York.
And how dare it rain today for the High Limit opener? Because now it starts tomorrow at 4 o'clock US time, which is 5 o'clock in the morning our time.
And they could probably rain out again. So I won't even worry about it.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is
trying to keep up with it.
Well, Callum will not even really technically be racing weekly in PA until June.
Yep.
And I told the car owners, I was like, after being here for a little bit, we need till June, which is about first week of June is, I believe, 16 races he will have in the States. And that's when the local racing starts. His whole June is basically local racing in PA. But prior to that, it's New York, it's High Limit, it's Outlaws, it's Port Royal, even though it's PA areas and regions.
So he'll effectively do more racing, like 16 events.
He'll be doing 16 races from April 20th to June 1st.
Yeah. So we haven't even had 16 race meetings here at the Motorplex yet. So it gives an indication of the amount of racing that's done in America compared to here in Western Australia, where you race, or apart from this weekend, where there's 5 meetings in 9 days, invariably it's once a fortnight or once every 3 weeks.
Well, and Mitch Wormel did say that. he's worried about how good Callum will be when he gets back.
Well, that's the point
because he was like, the experience that he's going to get over there is going to make him really hard to beat.
Yeah.
I made that point with McHugh. I thought McHugh was going to be, and he probably potentially still is going to be, way stronger here at Perth because of his USA experience.
Yeah.
Perth is, and me and a couple drivers talked about this as well, if an Australian driver from Toowoomba or Victoria or Warrnambool or whatever, Avalon, wants to go to America, go to Perth for a season first, because it is the best kind of training ground facility for American tracks.
Yeah, because this is the biggest one we've got.
Well, and it has straightaways. I mean, let's face it, those tracks over. What track has a straightaway? Seriously. What track has a straightaway over there?
There's a few.
Who? Where?
Toowoomba's got some straights.
Kind of. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do we need to go to Google Maps and see if we find a straightaway on Toowoomba? There's no straightaways over there. But Eastern Creek has a straightaway, but they can't even race yet, or whatever. Or now Sydney International. Way better name than Eastern Creek, but they don't have straightaways over there.
Categorically say Kingaroy doesn't have any straights, even though I know we call them straights, but that's a showground. There's a couple that have got Borderline in South Australia.
Has a front straightaway.
Yeah, okay.
It don't have a back. And the front straightaway is like, what, 50 feet?
Oh, really?
Maybe. I was just there.
Yeah, I know.
Mount Gambier.
I've been there too.
Then you know what I'm talking about. They don't have straightaways. They don't have corners. They don't have wing speed most of the time. I mean, well, Premier's got wing speed, but I mean, you don't really get up to speed and race on a track outside of Perth. I just haven't seen it yet.
All right.
Bunbury's kind of close, but I haven't seen it. Maybe it's out there, but I haven't seen a race. I haven't seen a race track outside of Perth. Mount Gambier would be a short track. You could get used to short. You could go from Mount Gambier and Premier to California, but you couldn't go from Mount Gambier and Premier to Knoxville or Huset's. Well, maybe Huset's, but Knoxville, I-55, Eldora, all these tracks, you would be lost.
So we started the conversation about what's going to happen tomorrow night. 30 drivers in this midweek race for 10 grand. Can a West Australian beat any of the interstate drivers? And I personally think we need to start stepping up because the Americans obviously dominated USA versus WA Sprint Car Speed Week. And
although Callum won the championship.
He did win. He did through consistency. But we've had 2 races so far. Jamie Veal won on the Friday night and Jock Goodyear won on Saturday night last week, and that was a ripper race. But I think it's time that a West Australian needs to stand up and assert their authority and get one for the West Australian fans.
Well, and it is, the Monty 17 is a strong race car.
Yeah.
Y'all are actually lucky they're picking Corey Eliason. I know they had Courtney in it the year before, I think.
Tyler Courtney has been in it, yeah.
And he won a few or competed very well?
No, I'm sure he won a couple.
Yeah, and Tyler Courtney in a Monty 17 is a dangerous combo. A Corey Eliason in a Monty 17 is not a dangerous combo to me. I don't consider Corey Eliason a top 30 sprint car racer in America. I could probably there's some 360 guys I'd put above Corey Eliason. If I said Tyler Courtney, I'm sorry, but Corey Eliason is just not a top tier sprint car driver to me. Maybe a top tier person. Not saying he's not. I just don't.
He has won a lot of races here.
Okay. I just don't consider him, not to be mean, or Zerfoss. I wouldn't consider them elite.
And he's back tomorrow night too.
I know he's coming back. I mean, great guy. I'm not talking about these people personally. I just hope everybody knows. I'm not talking about it personally. I'm not talking about if they open the door for grannies and stuff. I'm not saying if they don't, offer you, a napkin when you need it. I'm not talking about them personally as guys. I'm talking about on the track, what they actually do on the track. I don't consider Corey Eliason and Brock Zerfoss elite talents in sprint car racing. That's just not what I just don't put them there. I do consider Jamie Ville elite. I think he's had a lot of bad luck, and when he's went to the States. I think Jamie Ville in that 17 is a very lethal combination. I know he didn't start well at the Saturday event.
Yep.
He definitely didn't treat Ryan Newton, or what? Not Ryan Newton. Is it Ryan Newton?
Yeah, it was Ryan Newton.
Ryan Newton. Okay. For some reason I want to say Kevin Newton, but I think that's the 16 car. 16 cars Kevin Newton in the States. But he didn't have a good starting position's big at Perth. It really is. I mean, if you want to contend for the win, unless you're Callum Williamson, then you drive through the field, or John Goodyear and you drive through the field. But I think Jamie Ville is a big threat in that 17. So you are really behind the 8 ball, in my opinion. You got Ville in the 17. You got McHugh with more USA experience. You got John Goodyear, who's just really, really good. And then y'all's guys, who would you consider your main hitters? Obviously, Callum's there. I would say King Shot's there.
Yeah, James Inglis.
Inglis is there because he got 3 to go up against the 3 I just named. Who else? Who's your hitter?
Well, Jason Kendrick, up until recently, had been pretty strong, but he's had some bad luck in recent meetings.
Well, and he's had run-ins on the track as well that seem to be self-inflicted, that have guys, it seems like, with a little bit of a dot on them.
And then there's your man there, Andrew Priolo. He's due.
You hold on. You're putting the guy who's never won a race up against Goodyear, Ville, and McHugh.
I'm trying to be nice.
I'm just saying, okay, give me your hitters then.
Yeah.
I just named 3 top-tier guys. These are top-tier.
And this is another reason why our series in Western Australia is one of the toughest to win, because we have these big events where we get all these interstate drivers over, like the cream of the crop, effectively, and also USA drivers come over as well. So our drivers are always running against some pretty good competition.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay, but you're only giving me 3 outside of Andrew Priolo that you're putting up again. Okay, so we got 3 over here. We got McHugh, Goodyear, and Ville. That's your main, in my opinion, that's your main hitters from the East right now over here. And you're giving me Callum,
Dane Kingshot,
and Inglis.
Have a match race.
Who else, though? This is your home turf. You're supposed to have 10 of these guys over here that you can put up here.
Did you
put Coyle? Sometimes?
He can be quick, but basically, from what we've seen recently, they would be the 3.
And then no one else. You said Priolo's on the border, but he ain't won a race.
Yeah, Chris Coyle's quick, hasn't won recently either. So, it's a tough one. And it's going to be tough for our guys to win, but I'd like to see West Australian win. It's time that somebody.
You would say Manders, but I hear that car combo just doesn't work. They got a chassis that I heard used to be McHugh's.
I'm not sure on that side of thing, but Caden has won a title before.
Now, somebody did just say some names, Mayolos.
Brad
they do have speed. Yes, they do have speed, but they had a like a lot of people have. They had a Kendrick issue.
Yeah, so Brad Mayolo, the younger brother, he won at Bunbury the other week and was
right.
Really
but
good.
Friday was one of the Mayolos was the one.
That was Jamie.
That King shot.
Yeah. So there are some
not King shot. Sorry.
So there are some drivers around. I just hope it'd be good.
Somebody did say Harding. He looked very fast, but that's like his first sprint car race back.
For a while, and he's doing double duty. He's a very good driver in both
speed cars fast.
And in the speed cars. Watching him, Caden Manders, and Tom Payette in the speed cars, when it comes to the Aussie title is going to be really, really good. So looking forward to that as well.
They keep trying to rub this Corey Eliason in my face. I forgot that he took out Speed Week 23, 22 in Western Australia.
That's what I said. He did win quite a few races. Heard it here first.
That's not a big. I mean, I feel like 22, 23 Perth has went up in 23, 24. Didn't Eagle, who's from Victoria, come over and be the big challenger to the Americans last year?
Matt Eagle raced really well.
But he's not a WA guy.
No, he's
so you
not.
didn't really have a Williamson last year or a King Shot that was challenging the guys.
No. And someone who's impressed me this year, like earlier on this season, was Luke Oldfield. Like he hasn't had a good run this time around, last couple of nights. But
well, he had mechanical issues on Saturday.
Yeah, so Luke Oldfield's very good as well.
And he's a Queenslander.
Correct. But I'll go for anyone who wins.
You just want anyone but a Victorian guy.
Oh no, don't get me.
Anyone but a V.
No, don't.
That's what you're telling me.
Do not get me.
That's what it sounds like. You just picked Luke Oilfield. So it's not about the WA.
Don't get me into
It's not about the WA.
I've got to call these events tomorrow, remember.
You just said Luke Oilfield, who is not a WA.
No, he's not. He's Queensland.
But you would rather have him than a V. That's what you just said.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I'm not putting words. I'm adding up the words that you said.
So I was just I can't win.
What do you mean you can't win? There's no winning or losing here. We're talking about sprint cars.
For me, there is.
Let's get the mic closer.
Yeah, look, for me, it's
Racers for Christ on the mic. It's always been there. You see that, right?
I'm lucky. I just get to call the races, I suppose, and I get to call the winner or get to call the race. But I just like to see.
You want to see someone over here, WA particularly.
Well, I'd like to see
represent their home turf.
Correct, and I'd like to see. It would be nice to see someone else win for a change than the drivers we've actually listed. Actually,
and Callum had bad luck both nights.
Yeah, of course he has, and he's no lone soldier there. There's been a few of those. Like that B main the other night was absolutely stacked. It had 5 drivers that would normally be in an A main were all in the B main, and not at the front either. They were at the back. Jason Kendrick was at the back. Luke Oldfield was in the second back row. Daniel Harding was at the back. Callum was at the front, and Cam McKenzie burnt him off in the front first corner. So on any given night, there are different drivers that could win. I just like to see. I just like seeing really good close racing, like we saw the other night.
Yeah, and you'd like to see the finishing order contain WA. You like to see WA. You like to see Q. Anything but a V.
There's nothing.
Anything but a V is what I'm hearing.
There's nothing wrong with being parochial.
And the 17 don't have a V, but the last name starts with a V, so it still counts.
Yeah. And I've got nothing against Jamie Veal either.
I love the Flying Horse. Flying Horse is awesome.
Yeah. So I actually think I just want to see good racing, and we've seen plenty of it. There hasn't really been a dud
And you got
race.
late models coming.
Yeah, so. late models next weekend. I like the Formula 500s or the micros and the wingless are there tomorrow night. So tomorrow night should be a really good night actually by the car counts. It's very rare we have a Wednesday night show, and the weather is going to be good, so the racing should be good as well. And it's 10K to win, so they'll be all pushing hard.
They'll be all there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're going to be there too, and you'll be out of my house.
Oh my God. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Is that it?
I think
2 hours and 40.
We talked that long.
Yeah.
And we've actually retained some people.
Yeah, they love it. They said one guy said it was the best interview ever.
Struth.
All right.
Where's he from?
Oh God. Do we do questions or no?
From the people
the
online?
Viewing audience. Give them some questions.
Oh. So if someone wants to fire any question.
Fire a question off. If we don't get no questions, we'll cut it off. But if we do, we'll respond.
One question was, or one statement, Tom Payet has driven sprint cars before and pulled off one of the wildest slide jobs of all time. I think I was there that actual night. So Tom Payet has taken over the drive of the 18 car in WA from Kai Scroop, for those that may not have heard. And it'd be interesting to see how Tom goes as a gun midget speed car driver now in a sprint car. So and Tom has been formidable for quite some time, and that he certainly has. RC Speedcar Super Series WA says best show ever. Too many Aussie sprint car drivers are nervous drivers behind the wheel, and it shows a lot of drivers try to too hard ambitions outdrive their driver capabilities. Yeah, so Chaz leaves tomorrow. I'll get the house back. But no, he's been good value, and I love showing him around actually. So we decided to put this together and have a little bit of a chat.
Oh my! Yeah, no questions.
No, I had more statements than anything else. Has Chaz found out the Oldfield Racing Trove? Yes, he has. So I'm sure he'll find out them more on the weekend when it comes to the late models.
Found out what?
Have you met the Oldfields?
I've met Luke, obviously, and I met the ones from here with Frank. They were with Frank.
Yeah, so that takes care of all of our questions.
That's it. Okay.
Is Dave Priolo racing? I've actually got the entry list here. So
you do. Where's it at? Do you have? Is it public?
And I'm not sure if it's public yet, but he's not on the list. No. So the list that I have is Lockie McHugh, Dane Kingshot, Callum Williamson, Andrew Priolo, Jai Corbett, Jason Kendrick, Jason Pride, Nathan Swan, Jamie Veal in 17, Tom Payette in the 18 with Daniel Harding, Trent Pigden, Glenn Sutherland, Jock Goodyear, Jack Williamson, Taylor Milling, James Inglis. It's actually got Ryan Lancaster listed. I'm not sure
did you see that Payette is in a sprint car?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure that Ryan will be racing, but we'll soon find out. Aaron Churcott, Marcus Dumsney, Caden Manders, Jordan Charge, Luke Oldfield, Ryan Newton, JD Dack, David Priolo, Chris Coyle, Matt Cross, Brock Searfoss, and Matt Eagles.
And it did slip my mind that tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
It is.
Who's going to be the Chaz's Valentine?
I'm not sure.
Hey, man, that's very important to me.
Yeah, 19 wingless, 12 Formula 500, 7 Junior Formula 500s on the list that I've been given from the production
Let me see that list again. Because that's another guy you mentioned in there that is, I think, another threat from the East, actually. And that's Jai Corbett.
Jai Corbett, number 10. He's from Queensland.
Jordan Charge is definitely going to learn. Jordan Charge has been learning this whole time.
Jordan Charge. Where's Jordan Charge from? Because Jai Corbett's from Queensland.
Jai Corbett's from... So you would rather take him? Hold on, but he's out east.
Yeah, I know. Jordan Charge.
Anything but a V.
Jordan Charge is from Victoria. Apparently, I don't like Victoria.
But these are underdogs.
Yeah.
You just want someone else. No. That's my point. I'm trying to support you.
Okay.
I'm trying to say you don't want just anyone but a V. You want someone new.
Yeah.
You would rather have Jordan Charge than Lockley McHugh or Jock Goodyear.
And nothing against either of those two drivers.
You just want to see something new happen.
I'd like to see someone else win.
I mean, if you put Goodyear deep in the field, he finishes 5th like he did on Friday. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about starting position.
It is. But
if that 17 in Ville was out front Saturday, I don't know if anybody would have got him.
I may have to lock the door of the commentary box tomorrow night to stop anyone from banging down the door for anything that may have.
No, y'all come after him.
Yeah,
come after his ass. Look at him.
Yeah, no. So
look at him. We'll center up. Get real close right there. There you go.
Yeah. So
that's who you're after. We got the letters on the screen. Jason Crowe.
Yes.
With an E. The E is silent.
It is, yes.
I hope
it definitely
Crowe.
Is.
We're not saying Crowe.
We're definitely not saying
We're not French. Crowe.
No, we're not. So yes, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. Looking forward to the weekend, and yeah.
After all I've said, I may need to learn how to bob and weave.
Exactly right.
I know how to bob and weave. It's all right. Come and get me.
So in all seriousness, I hope you've enjoyed your 3 days here and me showing you around. It's horrible.
Absolutely horrible. Too many white people.
You're a nasty man.
I'm a nasty man now.
Yeah,
wow.
So,
I thought we were going to keep that quiet, Jason.
Yeah, so I hope...
About me being nasty.
So I've shown you most of the...
Oh, you showed me something.
I've shown you the good areas. And I hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh, the good areas is what we're calling it now, huh?
Well...
Okay.
The interesting areas.
Oh, well, that's a better way to put it. Yes.
And I hope you enjoyed today. Areas. Yeah. So, yeah, I hope...
He's about these blushing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I may be blushing because this was a massive risk.
It's over. You thought you were showing up to announce tomorrow.
God, yeah. I'm probably waiting for a phone call.
You're done. Yeah,
I'm waiting for a phone call.
They're just waiting for it to end so you don't react live.
Correct.
That's what it is.
So as you said the other night, if there's no more videos, it's because I pushed you in front of the stingrays.
Yes.
If there's no more commentary from me tomorrow, you've written me off.
Yeah. There's more sharks. They're not just in the water.
Correct.
They're sitting behind a desk with a pin.
Yeah, exactly right. So
I've been fighting them for a long time.
It's been a good ride while it lasted.
Hey, man, we got a new profession for you, co-host.
Co-host the Chaz.
Hey, man, it sounds like it would take off pretty well.
Well, one person liked it.
One person's all you need, Jesus. Oh, I did drink a Great Northerns. Only two.
You did.
Only two, but I did buy my own beer today. Twice.
That's right. All right, so we'll see you at the track tomorrow.
That's it.
So how do you finish off? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone over time, big time. We'll see you tomorrow.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. As always, do you know
like, subscribe, and share.
Like the video.
Yeah.
There's a membership
at the
button
bottom.
At the bottom. Get your name at the top.
At the top. Yeah.
And share the video around. Even if you can't join, share the video around. Comment below with what you think, even if you don't agree. Even if you already know how this goes.
Yeah.
I don't. I wing it every time.
I know you do. I'm waiting for you to say something sincere, but I don't think it's
authenticity.
Coming.
It's been sincere this entire time. He's not a top 30 driver. I don't care. I'll write a list tomorrow if you need one, Gray. He's not top 30. I don't care what anybody tells me. Corey Eliason's not top 30. I feel bad for you that he dominated last year.
Wrap up.
I got condoms in my wallet if we need to wrap up. I mean, if that... All right. Now you're done.
Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Now you're done. Procreation, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, like the video, share it around, comment below what you think. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to subscribe. We will catch you
next time.
As long as we make the show, we can be the best, so we can